Alright. Providing nothing goes wrong, hopefully we're live. Alright, hi everyone. Sorry, I guess, for not showing up for like another 3 months. If you're like, oh, well, he must have been working on a new video. Nope, I've not been working on any such video. I've just been doing nothing, besides playing Tetris 99. But we're still going to be here to talk about somebody who's a little bit more productive than I am. We got Top Hats here, who I'm sure you're all familiar with.
Hello
yeah, I
there.
mean, just applaud yourself, you know. just
Yes, I'm just patting myself on the shoulder right now.
Oh, well, you deserve it, because you made $35,000 on your Kickstarter.
Yeah, and we're not even halfway through. That's the cool thing.
Which means that you're going to clear that 50,000.
Well, I do hope for 50,000. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, right. For people who don't know what I'm talking about, Top Hats and Champagne has a game on Kickstarter called Born Punk that I've been shilling for on Twitter for the last week and a half, which has been going very well. I think it cleared its main goal in a day.
Yes, 23 hours or so. I told people to give me all the money immediately, so to go up the discovery queue, because Kickstarter is not unlike YouTube actually. The more you get initially, like on YouTube, the more views you get initially, the higher you are on the search algorithm. So it's all about the bots again.
You also did a good job actually, like talking to journalists and getting them to.
Oh shit! Yeah, I actually did that. That was a hard thing. I didn't quite know how to approach journalists because, well, you know my channel and how I treat journalists. But in the end, the only journalists that answered were none of the fucking assholes anyway. So there was no reply from Kotaku, no reply from Polygon and all that. And I thought in the beginning, should I even fucking ask them to begin with?
Right.
But I did. So the only people who were answering were smaller journalists, I would say like B League, but the one exception to that is Germany. In Germany, I was featured in the biggest gaming magazine and the second biggest one and the third biggest one. But then German game journalists are not quite as bad as the Anglo ones.
Which is interesting. I guess it's a different sort of different. I don't know. Is it a different culture? Like I wouldn't. It's Europe.
I think it's this Anglo clique of journalists that has evolved over the years, and that hasn't happened in the German sphere. So in Germany, most of the journalists that I know are still about fucking video games. Not.
Oh well, thankfully, you know.
Yeah, and they actually also still do investigative journalism, as in try to uncover dirty deaths, as Sid Alpha would say. So they seem to be pretty cool still.
Oh, that's good, at least, you know?
Yeah.
It means that not all hope is lost.
No, also, I started writing for Exclusively Games myself now, so I'm also a game journalist now, so...
Quartering, right?
Yeah, the new website that keeps politics out of gaming.
I'm not gonna try and spook you immediately, but I do remember distinctly that he said that the last night, which is I'm sure you're familiar with that game.
Yeah.
He said it was cancelled and that it had to do with social justice, but like that was not true. So
it was not true.
I don't know why he said that though. So
yeah. For me, you know, I think I definitely I've made takes that were not true in the end because I fell for the hype of a take. Yeah. I did apologize. I think it has happened maybe 3 or 4 times over the last couple of years. I apologized afterwards. I'm not sure what that is about, so I can't comment on it. In the end, I'm a fan of the idea of the website. If it doesn't work out, so be it. But I'm gonna make gaming journalism great again now or something. No, of course not. But it is a similar reason to why I want to make a game. It's because I have been bitching about things for so long. I kind of just want to try to make things myself, and people give you money.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think it's probably.
No, I mean people give you money in the chat.
Yeah. Oh, yes. They did $7 from Tripod X123. Here's some money. Well, thank you very much, my good lad. That makes me feel a little bit better. That fixes my crippling self-esteem, but never mind that. We're talking about this game instead, which we.
But still, before we start with the game, I must say, Fringy, I'm very happy that you're doing this with me because not only do I get to show my game, but also you get to do something on YouTube again. I think many people in the chat and on Twitter and everywhere else would confirm that you have been sorely missed because You're part of the Four Horsemen, for fuck's sake, and it appears like only I and Barry uploading right now.
Oh, Rags uploaded yesterday. He's still doing stuff.
Oh, did he now, finally?
Yes, he did. I haven't been able to watch it yet, but that was like an hour and a half. So,
again? Wow.
Yeah, well,
Since he's come...
We talk to Mauler a lot, and he makes a lot of long-form stuff. I'm sure that it's been influencing the way that we approach content as well.
Well, I thought that 40-minute videos were already long, but hey, yeah,
Oh man,
cool.
you'll love Mauler. He's making a 15-hour video on Star Wars The Force Awakens.
Right.
It'll be great, but it might be a little bit too long for you.
Yes, a little bit. It's just, I do have not so much time every day to spare.
It's fair enough, But oh yes, let's we've deviated away from the game. Let's talk about your game. Maybe give people who don't know like a synopsis of what it is from gameplay and story perspective.
Well, Born Punk is a cyberpunk game, and it's a point-and-click adventure in the 90s style. So anybody who remembers the old Sierra Online games or Lucasfilm games, later LucasArts game like Day of the Tentacle or Monkey Island or Leisure Suit Larry or Beneath the Steel Sky. That's the kind of game it is. Features, and now I have to say it because it triggers all the people of all sides, features a strong female protagonist.
Yes, of course.
She's also disabled, obviously, because she has a cyber hand.
Robot arm, yeah.
And in this game, Evie is that's smooth. You just switch to gameplay.
Yeah,
wow.
no, I'm prepared, man.
Wow, man, wow. I'm flabbergasted. In the game, Evie gets infected by an AI, and she doesn't know why. And apparently, the AI doesn't know why it's in her head either. And eventually, hopefully, Evie will find out what's happening, and will, in the process of doing so, uncover a world-changing conspiracy / plot that takes her.
It can't be cyberpunk without a big conspiracy.
No, of course not.
CEOs.
It's all about conspiracies. And eventually, she may also go to space.
Oh, that's awesome! What, with the space elevator?
Yes, via the space elevator. I thought that's space elevators. I think have not been used in sci-fi really often.
Halo has space elevators.
Well, Halo is console peasantry. I don't want to talk about that.
Oh man, nothing.
No, okay. Good that Halo does that. But not many franchises that I know have done that. So I wanted to explore that because it's actually one of the most realistic ways of portraying future spaceflight when we talk about technologies that may actually happen.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, like space elevators are really interesting in terms of a means of getting freight and goods into space cheaply, and then launching them off.
Exactly. It's very expensive in the beginning to construct that shit, but once it's in place, it should reduce costs a lot. And by the way, you just got another $20,
yes, I
my
just
good sir.
noticed $20 from Tripod X123 again. Thank you very much, mate. It's great to see you do something on your channel, Fringy. Oh, you're making me blush. No, thank you.
It is though.
I got plans, but we'll talk about them maybe after we are
right. Yeah. I'm already want to push you into some directions, but no. Let's continue with the matter at hand. Yeah.
So well, it's a point and click game, so it's Monkey Island inspired. I mean, I think that's probably readily apparent when you play the demo. Monkey Island and in the spirit of other point and click games, but you're modernizing it. So are you streamlining it, or are you like just?
I hate the word streamlining, as you can imagine.
Oh, it's better when it's streamlined. It's got less features. It's got less options. It's easier. But
exactly.
It's better because I'm a games journalist and I don't have enough time to get good at them.
Exactly. I suck, so make a game that is easy to play by everybody. Literally everybody. A 2-year-old baby needs to play it. No, I am trying to remove some of the baggage of old point-and-click adventures. I think one of the big things there is certainly the way that puzzle design is approached, because old point-and-click adventure games sometimes have just insane puzzles, as in follow no logical course of action. Which is what things resulted in eventually. Yeah, people stopped trying to solve a puzzle and just randomly click things. I want to have the puzzles in my game be logically consistent, like in the demo that's currently shown on the screen.
Because when I played the demo, I kind of figured it out. I'm like, drip and bucket, maybe I can fill up the water from this thing. But then, no, and then you think about the rain and then figure out...
Yeah,
like,
it was all water-based insofar, and there's a couple of obvious water-based things in the room. So it may not be obvious to try the rain to fill the glass in this case, for example, but it's water, so I think that should be a moment when somebody finally comes behind that that's the solution.
But not so simple like in Telltale's games where it's not even really a puzzle at all, hopefully.
No, yeah, that's how Telltale evolved eventually. The first Telltale games were still kind of puzzly. I actually remember also being stuck in the first Monkey Island game of theirs, because they, if in case some people don't know, they bought the rights to Monkey Island, then made a 6-parter out of it. But later times of Telltale games were just complete QuickTime event story simulators. So there was no real gameplay anymore.
Okay, but it's not an adventure game.
No, it's of course it's okay. I don't think all games need to be overly interactive. I know now I sound like a fucking games journalist, but if somebody just wants to kick back and do like a multiple choice game, that's fine by me, like choose your own adventure style.
But your game does have branching narrative threads, doesn't it?
Yes, yes it does. And it will, well, the more we get on Kickstarter, the more I will be able to implement that, because...
I'm gonna brag here because I actually influenced his decision on this one. I think what you wanted to do in the demo at least was have it be, at the end of it you need to get out of the room and then you have to either shoot your thing or hack into it or claw it off. And you said that you were going to put in something like, this decision will impact the game, and I told you not to do that because it's better to have people do what they initially think makes sense and then tell them later that it was a choice.
Yes, so in this demo, it's still a thing that this message lines up. This will change things, but yes, I will remove that because you're absolutely right. I was inspired by Telltale there, obviously, but in the end, you're right. It is not only, I think, nicer for the player to experience on their own a moment in which they go, oh shit, that was probably because of what I did, but it's also a bit immersion breaking.
Well, I think the example I think of is Spec Ops: The Line, where that game had choices, but there were times when I'm convinced that people wouldn't have realized that there was a choice, and then they did something. And that's because that was their initial gut reaction. Whereas if you get told what the choice is, you have a little bit more time to think it over. Which is probably... I just think that when it comes to story, like, when Telltale, they're like, oh, they'll remember that. It's like, why'd you tell me that? Like, why'd you tell me that was going to change things?
I mean, in the case of Telltale, I think very often that was also kind of a cop-out to create the illusion. Yeah, a lie. To create the illusion that choices matter. Because in the end, if you played it through, some Telltale games through in different ways, what branched was maybe a dialogue line or so that changed, but nothing in the story ever changed. Yeah, for example, the character in Walking Dead, the characters that survive until the end are always going to be the damn same characters. Because you need a few characters for the finale, stuff like that.
Well, yeah, I guess it's an issue of it can't deviate too much, otherwise you have to create entirely different content to sort of suit it, but I kind of wish that more games did that, because it feels a bit cheap when it's the same conclusion, but then it just differs right at the end.
Yeah, I think in the case of Telltale, they could have done it, because I think at one point they must have had a lot of budget, and the episodes were like 2 hours long, so I don't think it's too much to perhaps branch out completely for a 30-minute segment or so.
The funny thing is, as much as people don't like black and white morality systems, those games tend to have endings that are drastically different with completely different final missions. Like Infamous 2 has totally different final missions depending on whether you played good or bad.
Exactly.
Which makes it a lot easier to justify replaying it, because you're replaying content you never got to see.
First, Knights of the Old Republic also comes to mind.
Yes, but then we're gonna get depressed about BioWare, aren't we?
Oh, I'm not going to get depressed about them anymore. They for me, they actually kind of died. Now we're already deviating from one point, but it's fine. That's cool. We can go back to that in a minute. For me, they already died after Dragon Age 2. For me, Dragon Age 2 was the first. Rose, one of my head moderators in the chat, she's going to read that. But for me, Dragon Age 2 it was already a steep decline from Dragon Age 1 because it was rehashed textures, rehashed dungeons, rushed game. Then Dragon Age Inquisition came out, and that was just an MMO in single player form and horribly shoehorned in storylines as far as I'm concerned. And then Mass Effect Andromeda sealed BioWare's fate for me. I have zero. For me, BioWare is dead. I can't get depressed about them anymore.
Well, the thing is with Anthem is I'm kind of convinced that this is going to be their last game. I don't think that they're going to be around.
Yeah,
I don't see the interest in it. You know, it's it came too late because we already got these shared world shooters and people don't like them by and large.
Also, way to take a brand and just randomly create a new game in a genre that is not associated with the company at all.
Well, yeah, because it's not an RPG; it's a looter shooter with light RPG elements. Which
Blizzard was able to pull that off, but I think that was with Overwatch because they suddenly were a shooter designer. But
Blizzard's
I don't think that will work for BioWare at all.
Like Blizzard's
Say again,
big company that can do lots of different things, but BioWare is just a studio. It's one development. I mean, they've got different studios around the world, but it's still they make RPGs, or at least that's what people like them for.
Their branch that is still developing Star Wars: The Old Republic, the MMO, that branch of BioWare is still good, and I think that will survive. Maybe under a different name, or maybe as the BioWare. But
right. I don't know. I just don't think Anthem's going to catch on the way they think it is. I mean, people don't like EA for starters. People are hesitant towards looter shooters because Destiny is one of them, and it sucks.
They're fucking boring too.
Well, I don't know. They're just not for me. Because even Warframe, which I recognize as being probably the best one of the lot, it's still it's fun, but it's still not for me. But by comparison to like Destiny, which is bland and boring as hell, it's just this mundane. It's just so nothing. It's such a nothing thing.
It is. I actually tried out Destiny 2. Was it Destiny 2? No, what was the thing? Something 2 I tried out. Was it Destiny 2? Yeah.
It probably would have been. Yeah.
Yeah. So I installed this bloody piece of shit, 80 gigs or so. It took me like 2 days to download because I don't know what's wrong with their servers. Mm-hmm. And then after installation, I went to the main menu. The main menu already gave me, a quick bout of vomiting because I thought, how bland can something be? How streamlined? How clinical? How let's not take any risks can something be? And then I went into the character designer and thought, nah, thank you. Like, what, 5 preset faces?
Bones. It is
yes.
Bones.
And, oh god, and then I went into gameplay for 5 minutes and that was it. I just could not take it. I couldn't take the blandness. I couldn't take the lack of inspiration, the genericanism. That's not a word, it is now.
You get the impression, because I played through it with Rags, which probably made it more tolerable than it would have been on my own. I think both of us recognize if we had to play it on our own, it would have been painful. But you look, they have 3 character classes, but they don't feel very different, because the only differences are really, you have one big super attack, which doesn't matter that much anyway. It's just like, hey, do you want to kill these guys a little bit quicker, use this attack. But otherwise, there's not much of a difference at all. I don't like how people seem to be straying away from just having very well-defined different classes in their games, but want to have like, oh, you can swap whenever you want, you can change it whenever you want. But why can't you just
choices and consequences is nothing that people like anymore.
If we had mages and rogues and stuff in the real world, they couldn't just flip on a dime and become something.
Which, by the way, I'm gonna try to get the ball back, throw it back at Bon Punk for a second here, which is why your idea about what you said about choices and consequences and not telling the player about it is actually a good idea, because I would like the player to eventually be facing the consequences and not just be able to save scum and load until they get the consequence that they want.
Right.
By hiding from the player that there is a consequence happening, that is actually, one way to do it, so that they don't actually know when to save.
Right.
So,
in terms of choice and consequence, what sort of tone are you going for the game in terms of its story and atmosphere?
So I can't forget that I'm on a budget, most definitely. So there's loads of ideas that I have that I constantly have to. So I am now beginning to understand the pain of a game designer,
right.
How it is to come up with all those cool things and then going, Oh
I don't
shit!
have enough
Probably
time, I
can't.
don't have enough
Yeah,
money.
probably can't do that. Damn it. Which is why I have to be very careful with choices and consequences, because they can indeed bloat a game very quickly. It was
Right.
just
You don't
as we were
wanna
talking
become
about with
Star
Telltale.
Citizen.
Yes, and also not Telltale.
Yes, of course. But yeah, what sort of tone are you aiming for?
I'm going to try to make choices and consequences be small but numerous, so
Right.
that for example, in the case of the demo, Evie can either shoot the door, or she can hack the door, or she can use the cyber claws to open the door, or she can actually just open the door by answering the security question, which you can only answer if you paid a little bit of attention to the environment
That's
of
good.
the room that she starts in. So this will later, I don't think I spoiled too much, this will later change the situation in which she has to fight something off that is trying to enter her room. So, for example, if the door lock is disabled, it's not that hard to get into a room. If the door lock is not disabled, then it may be harder to get into a room, giving her another chance to solve that puzzle of how to get out of a room at a later stage in different ways, in an easier way, perhaps even in a way that will save a person's life. Who knows?
That's interesting.
And that doesn't require me to build entirely new scenes, but it's changes that stay within the scenes that are already in the game. I just have to edit the scripting, and
Right.
then I'm gonna try to do some branching within those scenes, which then leads to one or two bigger branch in the middle of the game, and then we go from there. I need to test this out, how this will work in the end, without suddenly having to have a Star Citizen-like budget and 5 years of development time.
I mean, surely you're going to have to redraft now that you have to put in a second character, or did you sort of... I imagine you had notes on what you wanted to do with him initially.
That's the interesting thing. I don't really have to redraft. I'm going to have to redraft some game ideas, but the storyline doesn't have to get redrafted. Let's just assume that the third character is going to get put into the game as well. That's our next Kickstarter goal at 40,000.
It seems likely.
Yeah, we have 16 days to go out of a 30-day campaign. We're now at $35,000. 40,000 is the third playable character. Those two characters would have been in the storyline anyway. They just would have been NPCs that you interact with. Now that they are in the game, I can just make it so that different parts of the story are going to be narrated from their viewpoint instead of Evie's. Right. So we will experience, or the player will experience some things that they wouldn't have experienced. We'll get more background info because they will get to see the game through the lens of those other two characters. So they will get insight, and some insights will be restricted to one character of the three. So you as the player will know a lot more than each of the characters individually, if that makes sense.
Right, yeah. You have the benefit of being a viewer from the third person.
Exactly.
So you get to observe things that they don't. That'll probably be interesting in certain ways that you could probably present facts or information, and then have
exactly. So
play up, you know?
I personally enjoyed that when in games that offered that to me as a player, because you can go like, "No, you stupid bitch! You should don't you know that this is happening? Oh my god, no!"
Oh no, that's great. Actually, here's probably something that'd be interesting to hear about. Why did you pick Bornholm as the setting for this game? For anybody who doesn't know, it's just this island in the Baltic Sea. You've never heard of it, and I'm sure you've never heard of it. So why did you pick it?
Well, I think the Germans and Danes and Swedes and Finns and stuff will have heard. I think the Baltic people have heard about it, but I don't think we have many Baltic people around here. Right. Well, there's a couple of reasons. I'm a big fan of islands, and I think a story is actually easier to contain on an island, because especially in a world like Cyberpunk, where transportation methods are plentiful, it's easy for me to not fall into a plot trap like that, because if a city is contained in an island, I don't have to make up reasons why Evie, for example, just doesn't jump onto a into a car, drives 200 kilometers away, and is never seen again. You know. So that's a plot reason. Also, I wanted to have a place that wasn't used in fiction a lot.
I can't think of any story that's featured it. So
apparently there was one or two games. Apparently it was also part of one of the Armor games or something. Okay. But it's not like New York, you know, Los Angeles or Berlin or London or anything like that. And I thought, and that is actually something now people can crucify me. This is actually something that I find one of the more relatable requests from the, let's say, progressive side. Why not showcase cultures that have rarely been shown before? You know, Danish culture, stuff like that, even if it's a futuristic version. That's not something that is often shown in gaming. We get American, sometimes
I'm glad
UK.
you brought that up, because I often see people just clump together Western or European cultures as all the same, but clearly they're not. So it would be nice to explore. It's funny. I remember I made a review on Deus Ex Mankind Divided, where I'm like, why would you set the game in Prague? Why didn't you set it in like a bigger city where it makes more sense? But
Well,
with the
fuck
benefit
off.
of hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight, I can see. I mean, it was more of a joke that I played up. Like, I didn't really have a problem with it, but I still get comments like, "Oh, why are you complaining about this?" It's like,
Yes.
But now I realize that it's kind of interesting to set it somewhere that's uncommon.
Yeah, I just find exactly. It's just interesting that it's definitely not
like,
West bashing for me or
Yeah.
America bashing. It's just, you know, we've explored the American scenario or the British scenario so often in gaming. So, well, why not something different?
There are not a lot of East Asian things in games, though, are there? You know, even like Japanese.
Are you trying to
games.
tease me with fucking weebs now?
No. But like even a lot of Japanese games, sort of try to tailor it a bit more towards Western. I mean, Mario, like clearest example.
Yes. Yes.
Legend of Zelda is, you know, that's Western fantasy.
I remember what was the name? Actually, a BioWare game. And they had.
Wasn't it?
What was the name of that? Fucking hell!
It's not Baldur's Gate. No. It's
No.
else.
What? Chad, what was the name of that game that I mean?
Game. I'll look it
BioWare
up.
game in East Asia. Oh my god.
that's
Jade
BioWare-
Empire, there we go.
Yes.
Jade Empire is. That was a nice one.
It's kind of
They even implemented drunken boxing, by the way. There was
Right.
this one character that you could feed beer mugs to, and then they would fight better.
No, but on that, it was part of the reason why I'm really looking forward to Ghost of. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing it. Tsushima or Sujima. I don't know. I don't speak Japanese, but it's a samurai game, and it's like that's cool because we don't have that many samurai games. And there's a reason why everybody's like, hey, can you make an Assassin's Creed game in feudal Japan or in ancient China? It would be
actually
a cool
right. We don't have
setting.
many of them.
It would be an awesome setting, but then they just keep going, nah, let's go Greece, let's go Egypt, you know, places that everybody has explored before.
Yeah.
The reason why Assassin's Creed 1 was so cool was because there wasn't... I can't think of any game that was set during the Crusades.
Yes.
And it's
No,
just, yeah.
Yeah. For example, I also think that the Fallout... now Fallout, I guess, is going to go the way of BioWare 2 after Bethesda has shown what they're up to. I'm also not looking forward to Elder Scrolls 6 anymore, I must say. But for example, the Fallout franchise, they could do a turn away from Americanism, for example. Don't you worry, ladies and gentlemen, I love America. I even want to move there. It's just in media, it's overrepresented. And if imagine something like Fallout Australia, that would be fucking
cool.
awesome.
You had to fight like mutated crocodiles and
you could fight bloody real drop bears,
emus.
man.
There's like mutated emu people who have taken over part of the country.
Yes, or even cultures, generally speaking, not only on Fallout, that I've really never seen explored before, like Vietnam, Thailand, stuff like that.
Africa
I find
in particular is severely underrepresented in media.
Thai culture I find very, very interesting. Nobody's ever making a game about them. Holy crap, I'm becoming progressive.
No, but seriously though, now that you brought it up, you know, how many games are set in Chile or Peru or Mozambique or
Fallout Moscow, that's a good one.
Like, you know, District 9 is distinct to me because it was set in South Africa partly. It's because even the film is like, oh, it's not in America, it's in South Africa. It's like that's interesting. So it in terms of Born Punk, if anything, it makes a lot of sense. It kind of distinguishes it as opposed to just doing New York or Tokyo or LA or somewhere like that. As much as I like those settings.
I mean they're cool, and they're cool for a reason, because everybody can relate to them in some way, because we're all used to seeing those cities in media all the time, so you don't piss anybody off by having a game set in New York, for example. Talking about New York, I don't know if you know that game developer Watch Eye.
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Watch It Eye is pretty much one of the biggest point-and-click adventure game developers right now. They made Unavowed, which was universally praised, and the Blackwell series. They published, as a publisher, Technobabylon, Gemini Rue. So there's a couple of important point-and-click adventures there. And the maker or the founder of Watch It Eye, every single game of his plays in New York.
Really?
Every single
Is he
game.
Like the Woody Allen of video games?
Yes, 7 or 8 games. He lives in New York. His games are in New York. Everything is about New York. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing him. It's just, come on, dude. Surely there's more in the world than the city, that very city that you live in.
Well, I know that I love Marvel as well, but Marvel is very New York sort of focused. Most of, like, not most, but a lot of superheroes in Marvel sort of canon are from New York or operate in New York, and it's all about New York. I like New York a lot. Like, I really like New York.
I was in New York. It's a cool city, but maybe. Yeah, you know, when you got, I don't know, by now 7 or 8 billion people on the planet, focusing on the 7 million or so that live in New York is maybe a bit much.
Someone asked a question about the game. Here's a question about other settings, though. Would the player character be part of that culture or a stranger? Would they be given out of culture
I can't even read that.
It was from Rose Lawlight.
Rose?
Here's a question.
There.
Yeah.
Okay, now I see it. Rose, I ignored you.
It's basically, I guess the question is the player, any of the player characters sort of out of that culture, and does that play into probably their interactions with other people?
It is an interesting question in regards to Born Punk. I've made it so that culture as we know it in that setting has evolved because it's 2150 due to things that are explained in the game's lore. By the way, extensive in-game lore, whole PDA screen, lots of words for people who want to know more. There were a couple of refugee waves and immigration waves coming into Bornholm from all kinds of directions, mostly from the north though, actually, north and the east. So in 2150, Bornholm culture is a mixture between Finnish, Swedish, Danish, German, Polish, stuff like that. So it's not really recognizable as a completely Danish culture, even though I've tried to implement a couple of, or rather, most facets of the culture will be recognizable as Danish, but warped. She is part of that culture, so she would never self-identify as Danish. She would be Bornholmian because that's a whole new thing now in that universe. Would they be given out of culture options? Oof, that's. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Rose refers to Born Punk here or whether she's referring to a general conversation about cultures.
Even from a general perspective, it's probably a question worth delving into.
Oh, absolutely. So within Born Punk, she's definitely in culture because she's born into that new Danish / neo-Danish / neo-Bornholmian culture, which is why there would likely be no penalizing within the game for not adhering to that culture because she is within a culture. It would be stupid for her to not know the intricacies of the culture. If we talk generally, I think that has been explored only a couple of times as well. For example, one film that I can think of is The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise, in which you get thrown into Japanese samurai culture. I think it's also interesting to explore, but I also think when we explore new cultures that haven't been explored very often in media, let's go for my example, by the way, Thai. I don't think you need to insert somebody from another culture just in order to make it palatable for the plebs, so they have something to relate to, because I have always said, fuck you being fuck you and your need to be playing a relatable character because you can only relate to your culture or your skin color or whatever. Yeah. I think if we explore a culture, why not explore it fully?
Relatable is kind of this thing that people keep getting told they have to do, but I don't agree. I don't think that relatable is more important than creating a character who is dynamic and unique.
Yes.
I mean, I was rewatching stuff from Lord of the Rings. I'll look at, like, Aragorn. I'm not like Aragorn, but he's awesome. You know?
Yeah, I mean, what do I have in common with Aragorn? His skin color. That's it.
Well, I got nothing in common with anybody in that cast in terms of height or, like, stature or background, but it doesn't matter because they're all interesting, dynamic characters.
Yes, for example, everybody has some traits that makes them that sets them apart from the mainstream. For example, I'm left-handed. For example, I have a load of allergies. I even have a cold allergy. That means when it's too cold, I can fucking die. But you know, I never thought about trying to shoehorn a character like me in so that I can enjoy the character because this character goes through the same things that I go through. No, when I play a game, I don't necessarily need to be reminded that if I step out at 5 degrees minus Celsius, that I may die. You know, I don't need that. I don't need
the thing is, though,
that representation.
Even nowadays, though, the issue is not even to do with relatable motivations or goals, but just that they look like you. Which
Exactly.
I don't get.
Yeah, Rose also just said, I don't even know what relatable is supposed to mean. And the concept you're talking about, or rather these people mean relatable in the sense of shares physical or mental characteristics that are the same as you, as in is either exactly as fucked up as you are or as black as you are.
Daredevil is my favorite comic book character, and he's blind and a ninja.
Yes. Well, I'm just gonna get another beer, my good sir.
Worries.
I'll be right back.
But
10 seconds or so.
No, I'll keep that. I'll keep on that discussion. It's there's something to be said for having a Watson character, one who is learning about the world as we are learning about it. It's less about being relatable and more about making learning natural. Oh, absolutely. I think it's something that you see a lot when people talk about storytelling, especially when you're creating a world from scratch, that sometimes it's easier to get people to sort of get them into that world if you have a character who's sort of a conduit for them. I guess probably John Carter, one of the earlier science fiction stories, is probably a good example. He's just a guy, and he gets thrust into this alien circumstance. Or even Star Wars. Star Wars is another good example because Luke Skywalker exists for that very purpose. He's meant to be there to help people sort of get into the world. There's not necessarily anything wrong with it, and in some instances it's exactly what you need. But I guess the decision whether or not to do that depends on what the writer thinks is necessary.
And very much also on the scenario, because I think that there are scenarios in which... let me expand this a little bit to relatability, whatever that's supposed to mean, and diversity. Because in some scenarios, for example, brought by diversity of skin colors, genders, I mean, there's two, but of all that is justified. For example, in Overwatch, it's only logical that a multinational superhero organization would have people from all over the world, meaning all skin colors, men and women alike, sexualities, what have you. In the world of Born Punk, it's the same, and I'm noticing myself as developing it, and that's an interesting admission on my part, I think. I noticed that originally when I was writing the story, I was focusing very much on white characters just because I envision Denmark right now to be very white. But in the scenario that I created in 2155, due to the factors that I introduced, that would not be the case. So I had to consciously think about, no, come on, you're overdoing the whiteness now, and I hate to say it like that.
No, but you do have to think about these things.
Yes,
when you're telling a story, you really do have to think about.
When I'm creating a city that is 27 million strong on an island, huge, on an island that is the size of Manhattan, perhaps, that has suffered through forced migration waves, and there's going to be a lot of different people, but still the brain defaults to white, of course. That's what I'm used to.
Where you're from.
No. Of course, I mean in my case, man. Yeah. Because I come from a white society.
Yeah, exactly. It just defaults to the most common.
Thank you, Jack. By the way.
What was he the guy who asked the question?
He said, "I cannot wait for the next Four Horsemen. I love you too."
Oh, yes, thank you very much, man.
With the Four Horsemen, by the way. Sorry to interrupt you. I think I need to force you fuckers to record and publish on your channels as well again. Because the last couple of episodes of Four Horsemen was only published on my Twitch channel, which is maybe a bit meh. So the one...
We'll have to.
But I want to do it again, of course. By the way, ladies and gentlemen, if I may spoil you, the Top Hats and Champagne meetup is going to happen in October in Houston, Texas. And so far, Rags is going to come as well. Bulletberry is going to come as well. Free Tongue is going to come as well. And if I may say that, Fringy, it could be that our dearest shitlord Fringy might attend too.
I am gonna make a serious effort to try and get there. That's my promise, whatever that's worth.
Yes. So we may have the 4 horsemen plus Fritanga on that meetup. So that would be very great.
Cool.
I'm even willing to subsidize Fringy, even though he said money is not an issue. I may just take him into a suitcase and just bam.
Just stuff me into a suitcase and it's just like,
yes.
why is your bag so heavy? Oh, weights.
Yes. Dragon Realms, by the way, the game is called Born Punk, and in the video description or in the stream description that Fringy make at the end, you can find you can find a Kickstarter link there.
Let me pull up the Kickstarter page just to shill it.
Yes. So yeah, we may actually do a 4 horsemen thing there.
Alright, on the topic of the game, I gotta say I was quite impressed by the voice acting.
Yes.
I thought it was really high quality for
Thank you.
an indie project.
But there's 2 things I would like to say about the voice acting. The first thing is a kind of funny one. So I would say that 99% of the people really enjoy the voice acting in the demo so far. But there's just 1% that dislikes it. But this 1% is not like, me, don't care much for the voice acting. It's like, it's the worst ever! Dude, it's not really...
Yeah, I can't see that.
No, the amount of emotions that this voice acting has solicited from that 1% was amazing.
It's weird. I don't
really, really close to psychotic breakdowns of a couple of people. No, yeah, I'm a fan of voice acting, and it's also where a lot of the money is gonna go in the end. So Evie is voiced by a woman who's actually also my age. Funnily enough, I've noticed that I work very well with people my age for some reason. She is an American army veteran who served in the Iraq War, which is, I think, awesome for Evie, because Evie grew up in Bornholm in the slums, which means she's used to violence, is used to holding her own ground, but also used to pain and suffering and loss. And I think that really comes through in her voice. I think she's doing a really excellent job voicing Evie.
But you're gonna have to get some men to do some voices as well. Some maybe Australian accent.
Absolutely, Fringy. I'm sure I'm gonna have to do that. Yes, very much so.
Because it's a melting pot and all that.
Yep. Yeah,
I'm sure there are some green people in there.
I think just because I know who you are, I think we should make you, I don't know, a small Asian character with an Australian accent, because melting pot and shit.
No, I mean I'd be keen to actually do some voices for that. It'd be fun.
I'm sure in the end there's going to be a lot of opportunities for that. Also, on a certain from a certain backer level on, people can also submit their own characters as NPCs, which is easily done for us, because there's going to be cyberspace in the game, meaning that we can have all kinds of wacky characters hanging out in VR chat or stuff like that.
Right, yeah.
And they will also be able to voice their own characters. So there is a stretch goal in which you can call into Bornholm's radio station, show radio station and ask a question, and the radio host will then answer that. So lots of ways to get people into the game.
I hope you're using Wolverine a lot as well, because he's got a godly voice.
Yes, I'm going to be... Wolverine is going to be the radio guy, because he's literally the radio guy. Wolfie doesn't know that yet, but he has gotten a little bit of... it's also a bit shitty way to say that, but I was about to tell him anyway. I'm not sure right now about the role of him as the AI. He's gonna find other roles within the game, most certainly. So I'm not ditching him right now. But I kind of am on what? How do you pronounce it in English? Enamored.
Enamored.
Yes, with I hope it's also the correct meaning, with Sid Alpha.
Yeah.
Sid Alpha voiced the computer, the PA system, the door PA system, and I think he has a perfect monotone, non-human AI voice.
It's funny. That's a compliment, but also.
Yes. So I'm imagining him, because in the end I will not be able to afford all professional voice actors.
Right.
Evie has to be professional, but many of the voices will have to be not professional as in the amount of money paid, because I'm not gonna disclose her rate, of course, but from my experience now, having tried out a couple of voice actors before I settled on her, the rates you pay are about between $400 and $1,200 an hour. So
yes, the rate has to be high just for actors in general because there's a lot
yes,
of downtime.
there's a lot of downtime, and they may just get a gig once a month or so.
Before that, you know, you're sort of paying for the experience and the practice that they have before that point too. Which is fair enough.
And simply said, this is also capitalism in action. I did try out cheap voice actors. They deliver cheap results, so you...
What, like lower audio quality or worse performance?
A bit of low audio quality, but mostly actually work morale. So reaction times, response times, and that's horrible for me. As a German, I love my efficiency. I need to have an efficient partner to work with because when I need something, I need it now. Right. Done, please. I pay good, but please just do it. And I don't have the time. I'm sorry to say it like that. I don't have the time to wait for that damn millennial to get over themselves to fucking do their fucking job that I'm paying them for.
It's funny because I'm a millennial.
I know, not all millennials, hashtag, but in the end, it happened to me 3 or 4 times during the course of the development of the demo alone that I had to let go somebody who was in their early 20s and replace them with somebody who was in their 30s, and suddenly it worked.
Right.
I think this may not be a millennial thing, but just an age thing, as in on average, people as they get older become more serious about the things that they do. And I understand that. I wasn't different. I wasn't different when I was young.
You know, because I can probably relate to that where I'm just like, is this good enough? You know, like, is this of high enough quality? Like, is this appropriate? Whereas when you're older, you're probably a bit more experienced and you have that background. So you can maybe be a bit more confident in the work that you do.
Well, for me, what I'm doing right now is it's a first for me as well. This is my first time even trying to game dev. But I do think, and this may sound a bit cocky or arrogant or whatever, I think without believing in yourself and the ability to outdo other people at what you're doing, you're never gonna succeed. I think.
Yeah. Probably.
I think self-confidence and just go with the flow, tackle problems as they come up. I think it's a very important quality to have if one goes freelance. Mm-hmm. No, in a employee environment, it's not that important. But if you want to do something on your own, there's no time for self-doubt.
Right. Admittedly, though, there's this quote that I really like from Bungie. That there's this great documentary that they did on the development of Halo 2, which was quite difficult for them. They made a lot of mistakes. It came together in the end, but it was they were working constantly, never going home, staying there for days. And a quote that Joseph Staten... No, it wasn't Joseph Staten. It was I know his name. He was the director of the game, and I think his quote was along the lines of when it comes to basically any creative enterprise, if you think that you're making the best thing ever all the time, then it's not going to be the best thing ever. Which is probably one of my favorite quotes about any creative.
It is, and there's overconfidence and there's confidence, and there's bullshitting in order to get what you want to then produce something good, and there's just being full of shit. There's of course a difference. But Frank, may I maybe that we answer the chat for a bit, because I think stuff has stacked up.
Let me peruse through. So
I think from Mohammed on Mohammed Danistan Fister. What a name, by the way.
Hold on, I'll just.
I see 1980 Master Race from Fessa at the top right now, and then I think there's a couple of questions and statements that we may want to address.
What's the meaning of this? Fringy is actually active on YouTube. I'm not dead yet.
Yeah, maybe Fringy, we should stop shilling for me for a bit. Maybe you want to explain what's going on in your life right now, because I'm sure a couple of your fans are dying to know.
I'm not even really sure what the explanation is. I was just like, nothing to talk about, got nothing to make videos on.
Well, then I'm gonna answer for you, Fringy.
Well, because I got a few things I could probably talk about. In terms of what my plan is right now is I want to start working on. I'm probably a bit like you. I want to start working on different creative projects, but I would like to find a way to sort of find a way to insert something that was sort of what I used to do before. If it's streaming, that would probably be the best option because it's maybe a bit of a, you'd only have to dedicate a certain amount of the day to doing the streaming, and then you can do whatever else you need to do in your own
I think
time.
it's more effective if you're time starved than making YouTube videos, definitely.
Well, I mean, I'm just probably using you as an example because you do streaming. Well, streaming seems to be the main thing that you were doing for a while. And I know it's work, but it's probably... And it'd probably be good just for practice in a live environment, making sure that you're not fumbling and acting like an idiot. I wanted to start doing a podcast. I'm working on it. In fact, a lot of the work for it's already done. I just need to start trying to figure out hosts and format and stuff like that.
Just so you know, I would be honored to be part of that podcast.
I definitely. What the format I'm thinking of is like me and then one or two guests, probably one, because it means it will be easier to just have. It'll make it a lot easier to always have enough variety each time that you can then bring back the same person again, maybe like every 10 or 10 episodes or whatever it is.
Or just use Alex every time, because I think, oh no, it's Alex always works.
Well, there are I think enough people that I've met over my years on the intertubes that there'll always be someone to get on there, or even if it ends up just being a recurring cast, even that I'm happy with. I did one on my own, and it was quite difficult to constantly sort of amp myself up to do it, because it's like I'm just talking to myself for like 5 hours.
Yeah.
And then like, nope, that didn't come out right. Start over. Nope, I screwed up that line. Start over.
and if I may comment on you as well, the way that I have gotten to know Fringy by now is that Fringy, and I'm sorry I'm talking about you in the third person now. Fringy is a very, very creative person, but Fringy is also still trying, I think, to find the thing that he really loves to do. That is my impression. So there's lots of venues.
I like dabbling in things, which is
yes. So Fringy likes YouTubing and streaming and writing comics and commenting on political/gaming stuff. And I think he's a jack of all trade, but at one point, and I said that to him personally as well, I think it's just time to decide at one point.
Yeah, no, I know. I think.
But hey, Fringy is young. There's lots of time. Holy shit, you have loads of time.
That's my big justification for it. I got enough time. I mean, what I've been thinking is like, what is something that I can find that would be able to combine a lot of different things to make it, but it would still be focused on one thing. And especially lately, because I've seen you doing it. And there's Ethos, I know, is also doing it as well, because he's making a game.
Yeah, he has been making a game for far longer than I have, by the way.
But yeah. he unveiled some of it the other day, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I think Ethos is... he doesn't really talk to me anymore, because I think somehow, I don't know, he got miffed by some bullshit with what's his name? Black Bond. Racism allegations and shit like that. Pardon? But because I tried to contact Ethos also lately via Steam, no response. So he unfollowed me on Twitter as well. So
well, I was chatting to him the other day, but I think that he's quite sort of invested in sort of becoming part of the mainstream game development industry. I think he's kind of friendly with BioWare.
Oh shit!
He's been talking about. Well, I think he went to their
Rip
studio.
Ethos.
I think he went to the studio in Edmonton, which it probably gives him a different perspective. I mean, it's a situation where it might not be as reliable a critic of them, because there's now that personal attachment. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
But I mean, here, like, I wouldn't be able to give an honest review of your game, because I'm probably gonna like it no matter what. Even if it was bad, I'd probably be like, yeah, this is still pretty good, though. Because...
That's fine. I mean, acknowledging one's biases is cool.
What I mean is I don't want to be like, well, I mean, I know I'm not, but I mean, you want to avoid being like Kotaku, where you're...
I mean, yeah, but I mean, but the difference is between what you would do and what Kotaku would do is you would say upright, I like that dude, I'm his friend.
Well, that's total transparency here. I'm like, I'm shilling for your game.
Yes, and I'm fine. And I'm fine with taking it. I'm happy that you did that, because there's no need for us to pretend that this is some sort of impartial shit or something. That's the difference. That's the difference. That's the only difference actually between us and Kotaku and that dreck.
Just being honest. But yeah, on that subject, what it was thinking about game development, because it has the especially because I'm interested in writing. It means that you can have your story in there, but you can also have your art assets for animation and backgrounds and stuff like that. But also just it seems appropriate because I played games. I played games since I was like 3 years old. It's clearly a significant part of my identity, which sounds kind of lame, but it's true for a lot of people. It's something that you grow up with. It's kind of part
I'm a gamer. It's a big part of who I am.
That's what I mean. I know Fratangi said like, oh no, I don't identify as that. It's like, nah, come on, man. Yes, you do.
But I love Fred, but he's really skirting close to being a real SJW.
Nah, I still like him though.
Of course, he's awesome.
He's my friend. So
same here.
Yeah.
Same here. He just constantly tweets about politics, and I'm going, oh god, Fred, shut up.
Well, I think I can relate because I was probably in that situation 2 or 3 years ago.
I think we all were at one
everybody
point.
Was, you know, everybody has it, and then they're like, fuck,
Yeah.
man, like, I can't keep doing this.
Right, I would like to address something else from the chat, because we were trying to address chat and then we didn't. Mohammed asks, will the Cyberdanes practice a secular and cultural form of European paganism? That's actually a very interesting question because I do want to explore that. So yes, there will be a resurgence of European paganism in Bornholm and in that scenario, meaning that traditional religions in Bornpunk will be pretty much on the decline, and people are going back to what their ancestors believed, apart from atheism, of course, which will be huge. For example, a part of Bornholm is called Bulgunderholme, which is actually the pagan, or the name for Bornholm from pagan times, and the Norse religion will be practiced by many people on that island again. Yes, so that's going to be a thing. Iname Princess said wait to be subtle. That was as a response to what I said about being confident. I didn't mean you, Iname Princess. I just think that being confident is, I mean, nobody who is not confident has ever become successful, kinda.
Oh yeah, and thanks Tim for saying that I'm a rock star. That's very nice of you.
I mean, Elon Musk. Can you imagine Elon Musk going, well, I'm not so confident about myself today. Guess I'm not going to Mars.
I think I was watching your stream yesterday, and you said you got to project confidence, even if you're not confident.
Yes.
Trick people into thinking that you're confident.
Yes, because nobody cares to support somebody who's a fucking wreck.
Well, I mean, like if you were trying to fix this scam and you're like, oh, you know, I have this pretty cool idea, but you know, I don't know. It's like, well, shit, man. Like, I don't want to give you money. Like,
exactly. I mean, everybody has doubts. I wouldn't even call it confidence issues, doubts or fears, anxiety. I too think sometimes like, will I be able to finish this? Am I in over my head? But in the end, I let my rational brain take over then again and make myself believe that I can do it. And I think so far I've delivered results that definitely are indicative.
Say, man, I'm very impressed with the amount of work you managed to do in the time that you've done it. Like, it's a really impressive feat.
Thank you very much. And I think it's just so important to do that. This whole thing, as you just said, well, you know, I've made this game and like, you know, I know it's nothing special. Yeah, when I hear that, okay, I'm not going to give you my money.
No, I'm glad you mentioned that because I remember, because I got many numerous ideas for stories that I want to do, and I remember reading something. It was one of those Amazon book writers who just writes nothing but garbage. You know, they write a book in 2 months and just push it out the door.
Yeah.
And it's crap. There's no way. Even Stephen King couldn't write a good book in 2 months. It's just not possible. And
yes,
you got these guys that are like, oh, I know I'm not making stuff good, but whatever. I'm like, man, I wish I could understand that, knowing that you're not making good stuff, but you don't care. Like,
yes,
I'm only interested in making things that are awesome, and great. And obviously, when you're working on it, you're not convinced. But I think the important thing is knowing that you want to make something great.
Yes.
Striving to make something great and never really going, oh, good enough. Like, good enough is good enough. You know.
Absolutely. It's also something that I've noticed during my time networking with indie devs now, since I started 5 months ago. Mm-hmm. First off, I delved in a completely different scene because they are not like us on average. When I say us, I mean people like you and me and Fringy and Sid Alpha and our audience. They're very often from a very different background. I felt a bit like a hostile invader there, as in, you know, game ethics in gaming. That's something that don't ever talk about much, and they're pretty NPC. You know the NPC meme?
Mm-hmm.
That applies to them very, very, very often. So you have to be very bland, not offend, and stuff like that. And
Boring,
it is boring, but it's necessary. And what I've noticed is that many of these people, because of them being an NPC, also are not really knowledgeable about what it takes, even those that have published before, what it takes to do proper marketing, because there's a couple of devs, there's a couple of devs there that go like, yeah, I'm a bit aggressive and everything, and my last game sold like 3,000 copies and things. Like 3,000 copies, that wouldn't even recoup one fucking month of my fucking development time or what. Well, it would.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and they don't know what's happening, and they don't know why their game doesn't sell. And what I say, I'm going back to this. It's because you don't have fucking confidence, and you don't go out there and put yourself out there and scream into the world that this new fucking awesome product exists, maker of it, and that everybody fucking try it.
You gotta find creative ways to market as well. Like I keep thinking of, like, if I were to make a game, I'd want to do things like have a promotional comic, like, you know how, like, with Overwatch they had comics that they made. Like, that's a great idea. You know, you find creative ways to communicate to people what your game is about, and the reality is, you know, like, you look at movies, they spend about as much money on marketing as on their budget, and it's like, it seems stupid, but, like, you know, people need to know what you're making, you know. Like,
yes.
I think what I saw something an ad the other day that's like, you know, making something without marketing is winking in a dark room. Like, you know you did it, but nobody saw it.
Yes, and you know what? I know that with the right amount of marketing, I can make. And I need to make a disclaimer here. I try to make One Punk the best game that I can possibly make. I'm just saying that the importance of marketing is I can make a bad game sell with marketing. But without marketing, a good game won't sell.
Right.
So
that's right.
So far, I am putting a lot of effort into the marketing, because in the end, this is also to fucking make money. I don't think we need to.
There's nothing wrong with saying that, you know. Like,
exactly, but we don't need to skirt around the issue of this. Yes, I want to make money. Fuck you. I want to be rich. Fuck you, bitches. With doing something awesome, even fucking better.
Yes, that's right. Well, I mean, that's the dream, isn't it? To be able to do what you want.
Yes, I would like. Well, my dream for now is to make One Punk sell enough to be able to make the next game without Kickstarter, pretty much.
Right.
Because.
Well, yeah, that's right. I guess you want to make your studio like a studio, you know, like a
yes,
sort of studio.
Yes. I'm paying one person full time now.
You're a graphics artist.
Yeah, in my yes, very much so. By the way, on the screen right now.
I'm showing it, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm trying to keep employing him, and then for the next game, I want to have made enough money in order to be able to start the production without having to rely on external funds completely.
Do you
it doesn't seem to
click games, or do you want to
I think it's a good way to get into the industry, because that's something I'm familiar with, something I know I can code, stuff like that. I'm not saying I will be doing that for the end of my life, but I do love the genre, so yes, definitely.
I wonder what you think of the games I want to make.
What do you want to make?
I want to make like action games, but 2D sort of action games, or like not necessarily pure action games, but part of a different genre, but with action sort of as a big main focus.
Dude, for as long as you don't go for 2D platformer, I'm cool.
Well, they'd all have 2D platforming stuff in them, but they'd be like
no.
Well, no, I mean like one of the
it's
yeah.
it's a bit oversaturated as well.
Platformers are oversaturated, but I don't think that there are as many action platformers as I think I would like.
What is the difference between a platform and an action platformer?
Well, you know Ratchet and Clank?
Yeah.
Yeah, that has platforming in it, but it has shooting as well.
Right. Okay. Okay. So it's a bit like
jumping, you know.
not Flashback or like Flashback.
Well, Flashback is a cinematic platformer. So that's probably like, you know, Flashback, Abe's Odyssey, cinematic platformers. But I'm thinking, you know, Metroid has platforming, but it's an adventure game more so than a platformer. So I think yeah, you're right. Like just pure platformers there are a lot of them, but you think a game like Hollow Knight, that's a platformer.
Yeah, it's just it appears that many indie devs as they start out go for the 2D platformer genre
because it's the easiest game to make.
Yes.
At least from the start, but I like the idea of I really like Platinum games as games. And all I think is like, what if it were like that but 2D? Because I can't do 3D. What if I did that but 2D?
Sorry, lots of interesting stuff about marketing in the chat right now.
I have
and the indie devs. So about the indie devs, for example, Name Princess says the most scared or defensive are usually the ones who are pushing products the hardest. I mentioned generally because they're not used to having defend those views. Yeah, what I noticed also in that regard, just by the way, Frank, do tell me if I take over too much.
Nah. By all means, go ahead.
Okay. What I've noticed is that those who are progressive, I'm trying to avoid the SJW term hobo, because SJW in this case for me means actively pushing for shit, whereas those people are just down with that shit. I think there's a big difference between trying to aggressively push those ideals on us or just being down with that. What I've noticed is that these are actually very often the people that we would define as basement-dwelling virgin nerds. You know, the very same thing that they accuse Gamergate of, that they accused all the gamers of, that are speaking out against unethical business practices, Battlefield 5, and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. Those, to me, strike me to be really the people that were bullied. Like the real victims of bullying, who have taken this mindset over into their adulthood, their adult life, and are now pretty much trying to make the world a better place because they were suffering, and in the process of doing so are becoming the very thing that they hated. And in regards to feeding art and everything, yeah, I'm trying to pay all my artists and, well, everybody who's involved in this project well, because that is actually perhaps this one confidence issue that I have, because I don't know why anybody would commit their own time to helping my game One Punk succeed if I don't pay them well. So one could say I'm a good employer / I'm a good payer because I want to make sure that people are properly motivated. And I think it's a good reason to be to do that.
You want happy employees, because happy employees.
Yes.
You want
and happy contractors.
From a pragmatic sense, but I think I'd just be happier if I knew the people who were working with me were happy.
Especially with the artists. I mean, I can force somebody to stand at a factory line for $5 an hour, and they can't fuck things up for me.
Well, an artist needs to be interested in what they're doing.
Yes, if an artist is motivated, their work is going to be shit, and I wouldn't blame them for their work being shit, right? Because you need to let your creativity flow, and if you think, well, that bitch is trying to make me draw a 1440p big picture for $20, well, yeah, then the result is probably going to be shit.
Actually, on the art subject, pixel art, do you think that pixel art is oversaturated in indie games?
My opinion on that actually very much changed ever since I started developing this game. This game was never meant to be pixel art.
Right.
This game, when I started, I paid an artist who didn't deliver anything a whole fucking bunch of money, unfortunately, to make modern, hand-painted graphics.
Right.
After it was clear that this business relationship didn't work, I went to the internet and searched for a different artist, and the one who immediately got my attention was Indirect, because he posted on Reddit in Game Dev Classifieds, and he said that he had experience in point-and-click adventures, and I thought, holy shit, yes.
Yeah.
Holy crap, yes. Then I noticed that he actually had worked for this What Did I publisher before, and he was an adventure gamer himself, so that was a big plus. And at that moment, I already knew, okay, I think I already want to kind of keep that guy. And then I asked him to do something, as in to draw that background for me of that room that we've seen in the demo. And he was able to deliver that painted background within 24 hours. But it has evolved since then. But the first draft was in my inbox in 24 hours. And then then I knew that he was reliable. And I'll always take reliable, motivated, and knowledgeable over the exact style that I want, honestly. Right. So I let him do the graphics in a style that he does, that he loves. In return, I get a motivated, lovely, shitlordy, point-and-click adventure, knowledgeable pixel artist. So now it's pixel art. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I love pixel art. I suppose the thing is, it is quite common. So I guess the concern might be that because it's so common, that it might be.
By the way, I just noticed I didn't even answer your question. The question was it saturated?
Yes.
Is it oversaturated? I think it is oversaturated, but my opinion on pixel art has changed. As in, I don't see it as a cop out to produce.
It takes a lot of work.
Well, I thought it was a cop out at first to make cheap graphics instead of investing money into proper graphics. But now I acknowledge it. I've looked more deeper into pixel art and how the pixel art community is doing things these days. I think it's just one more way of expressing oneself by now that is timeless and therefore not even worthy of the name retro, because retro would mean going back to something. It's not, it's not like painting a picture is retro because people have been painting pictures for thousands of years. So no, I don't think it's oversaturated anymore, because I think it's just one way to express oneself artistically. It's a style, yes.
And really, there is so much variance in pixel art that to say, oh, it's pixel art is not accurate. I mean, Super Mario Brothers is pixel art, and Super Metroid is pixel art, and Dead Cells, which is a modern game, is pixel art, and they are not the same at all in the way that they look. And also, there's just little subtle changes that a lot of modern games with pixel art do that sort of make them stand out more than... well, not stand out, but they look different from older games because they have more animation frames. They're actually higher fidelity. Because with 8-bit games, you most of the time only had 3 frames for running animations and things like that, but now you can do however many you want.
Yes.
And it's subtle, but it works.
I think Hobo also said in the chat just that there's an overabundance of cheap pixel art, and that is true. So people who just draw a few fucking pixels without any details.
Pixel art, though? What do you reckon? Like, what sort of?
Say again. Sorry.
What example would you think of for cheap pixel art?
Damn, I can't give you any because I don't care about these games very much. I see them on Steam and then I click on.
What do you think of Undertale's art style?
I don't like the game Undertale itself, but I think its art style is doing what it's supposed to do. I don't think it's cheap. I think it's
intentional.
Done the way it is intentionally. So that's fine. I do think there's other games, and unfortunately I can't really give you names there because I don't give a shit about those. that you can really see from the get-go. There's like 10 pixels in a character, and they run around. There's cheap effects, and fuck that shit.
Well, I think a great example, Dead Cells has fucking good pixel art. Like it's excellent. It's really, really good, and you can tell that a lot of work went into it. And I can tell that a lot of work went into the pixel art for your game as well.
Oh yeah, Indrek has been doing a lot of work, which is another thing that impressed me about him. He was working full-time at a very, horrible job, let's say it like that. No, he was not selling his body, but very, very boring. And he still put in all-nighters to make this demo happen, which is why I'm very happy to announce that he's now working full-time for me, because he couldn't... I told him, please wait until the end of the Kickstarter until you quit your job so we know what we're dealing with. He said, nope! Quit my job! Fuck that! I'm all in! So that was great. Yeah, and it's also a really good feeling, by the way, to be able to help somebody fulfill his dream like that. By trying to make my dream happen, I'm helping him make his dream happen too. So, yeah.
No, that's good. I kind of asked you that question because when it comes to the art style that I would want to use for my games, it would all be like illustrated, animated, like cartoons and things.
Well, it would obviously also be your art, likely.
Right. Well, it's just that I love cartoons, so I feel like I'd always want to do stuff that had actual animated characters, like well, not cell shaded, not cell animated, but not specifically cell animated because that's an older technique, but I mean like 2D animation basically.
Yeah, I think the characters that you draw would work well with just spine animating. So
Right. Well, I mean, I guess my big concern is like, oh, that's a lot of work. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot of work. Would I be?
But everything that's worthwhile is a fucking lot of work.
That's the thing. It's well, exactly. You're right.
Even drug dealing is a lot of effort.
And this is me going to be shilling myself here. I did some.
Right, I'm just gonna. Whilst you shill yourself out, I'm gonna get another beer.
I did some concept art for the game, not to brag. It didn't get used.
Yes, you did.
I did do it.
It's awesome. It's still being used on the website.
Oh yes, all right. That's fine then. No, I did some concept art because I'm actually we deviated from that, but I'm gonna start doing commissions very soon. And now that he's told me to brag, I'm the fucking greatest artist of all time, and you owe me money. No, but I'm gonna start doing commissions soon. And this was actually, I had approached Top Hats and said, hey, do you want me to draw stuff for this? Because it gives me an excuse to work. And what I know with certainty is that if somebody's paying me to do work, or if there's the prospect of pay, I'm a lot more efficient. I'm like way quicker. I will work very quickly and efficiently because
I told you this before, but in this particular shot, for example, I'm even more of a fan of your city art than I am of the character. Not to diminish the character, but I really like how the way that you made
this
a very
is actually the
comic-y
first
skyline.
time I did a proper cityscape though, because I am not I'm not great at backgrounds, but I had a lot of fun doing the city. I'm like, let's neon everywhere, glowing neon everywhere, rain, you know, like, and then trying to figure out what I wanted to do for the background gradient. But this is actually still one of my favorite ones that I've done. I'm sure it will change, but this is one of my favorite ones.
Oh, I definitely like it. I also like the way that you translated the in-game Cyberhand into something bigger.
Well, the thing was, if I had to start with nothing, I might have obviously done different things, but because I had a character model to base it on in the game, I was like, all right, now I need to sort of think about how I want to I made sure to also give her kind of like bags on her eyes, because I was like, well, if she's like a hangover, you know, alcohol addicted, fueled.
Oh yeah, baby.
Cynical person, maybe. I was like, yeah.
But that reminds me, what I've noticed is that what I find very cool is how my own vision changes due to the vision of my artist.
Yes.
For example, Jean Chani here in the chat, Merchant. He's my concept artist now, and he made the skyline picture that you have as the thumbnail.
Right. Great.
And the way that he designed the city, just based on a couple of loose thoughts of mine, pretty much is shaping how the city actually looks in lore and in the game. Same with the way that Indrek designs something. I give indications of how I need things to be visually, and then the artist does things. I give feedback, but in the end, I'm doing my darndest to make sure that the artist gets their vision as well. Again, to keep the artist motivated.
Yeah.
And according to what the artist does, my vision changes and has to change, and I adapt to what the artist draws. For example, in that room, in the demo, Indrek implemented details that I had not told him about, which I love, because there's nothing worse than just telling an artist, do that, and they do exactly that. It's stupid.
No,
because
what's the point?
because I'm not the artist. You know? I'm not the artist. I hope that the artist knows better than me what works visually. That's why they are the artist.
I will pull up the art that I did for what was it, Harold? That was his name, Harold. I made him a bit more buff than I think he ended up.
And by the way, Martin, you're probably gonna get not probably, you're gonna be properly paid after the Kickstarter, but you know that being paid is a hell of a motivation. Yeah, Martin, I'm not letting you go. And yes, the projected release date is 12 to 18 months because I want to make sure that I don't run out of funds by Well, by keeping production time relatively short.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. No, you explain what you have on the screen.
Oh, that's Harold. He has the bar on the Ragnaroks, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I like the name on the Ragnaroks.
Dude, Jeff Kurtenecker, my composer. By the way, Jeff Kurtenecker, composer of
now the
Wildstar,
composer.
my composer. He said he would buy a fucking T-shirt off of me that says "On the Ragnaroks." That name is apparently really a hit.
You need to put it on a shirt. You need to do that merchandising, you know.
I need to trademark that shit.
But I think I envision this character as a lot more buff than he actually is, because now he's
Well, in the Kickstarter video that you showed earlier, he's featured in his final version. So the colors that you used are still being used. Yeah, he's just a fat slot now.
Oh no, that's fine. I really like his facial hair though. I worked hard on that.
Yeah, it's very detailed.
But that was one, and then there was one more. There was the Eevee one. Let me find that. This is me promoting myself now.
Well, that's cool.
Because I want your money when I start doing commissions. I went with the wrong colors here because I think at the time the colors were still gray for like the pants, but oh, and also
yeah, that was the initial
thighs.
one.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
She's got thick thighs here. Probably need to tone that down a bit.
Yeah, I remember when he sent me that, and I found your facial design very cool. I think it deteriorated below her waistline a little bit.
It did.
Which is why on the webpage, when I was using that, I used her upper body pretty much.
Yeah. No, that's fine. What I did for too long when I was trying to learn to draw was like, fuck, hands are hard, fuck that, I'll just cut it out. Fuck it. Legs are hard, fuck that, get rid of it.
Yeah.
But now it's more like I need to try and I like faces though. I don't know what it is about characters, but I really like faces and finding ways to do stuff with faces to give yourself a bit of a challenge.
Dude, there's people who make a full-time wage just drawing damn faces.
No, I know. Well, I think the thing is, this is a bit of a off topic, but I really like faceless characters or characters who are missing certain features, because it means that you have to start thinking a little bit more creatively about how you want them to emote. You can even look at it with a Fringy character, which I just came up with off the top of my head. It's like, he's got no mouth, so what do I do? Like, what do I figure out? And I actually like the design that I have now. I'm sure I'll hate it in a few months, but I like it now, and it's a bit more...
Oh, I think it's normal to hate everything one does within a few months.
Well, yeah, that's right. It's, I'm just now looking at old sketches like, holy shit, man. Like,
but which is because Princess brought it up again, which is another thing about confidence. You can hate yourself and your work all you want. You just can't let other people know and whinge about it.
Well, you can't. Yeah, that's right. You gotta be like, oh, look at how.
Yeah.
I need to do that more, because like I'll draw something and then I'll be like, fuck, man. Like,
yeah.
I hate this.
I think that by the way is a problem of the current generation. They overshare and therefore turn me off of many things. As so many accounts of artists or game devs or whatever that I follow suddenly feel the need to tell me all about their mental woes and shit like that. I don't give a shit. That's not why I follow you. Go away, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't like doing that either, because it's just kind of a little bit like, what's the point? Like, I've got depression. It's like, what good does it do by me just going around like, hey guys, I'm depressed? It's like, well, fucking,
yeah.
What's the point of telling me that?
By now, this stance may be outdated, but I think some personal issues are best solved personally.
Oh,
the whole world does not need to know about your problems because everybody has their fucking problems.
Mm-hmm.
And
everybody's got problems, so there's no point. Now I'm just showing other things that I've drawn. I like this one actually.
Sure.
I think one of the things that a lot of art people do is like, I don't know what my style is, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. Is
that yours?
Yeah.
I like that.
I like it too. I like the I think for a long time I was like, what if I wanted to draw cartoon characters? What do I guys are a lot easier to draw than girls. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think that male is seen as a default, and there are a lot of things that you can get away with by males being the default that just makes it easier to.
Well,
do.
let's be honest here. Females also just have more lines to draw.
Well, yeah, women are just harder to draw. They've got more curves and they're sort of different anatomy. Whereas you could easily just draw a fucking box and put a head on it and be like, "There's that," and there's like, "That's a guy." But if it's a chick, you gotta try and figure it out.
Yes.
And also the eyes, you have to put lashes on girls to make them actually look like that. You can't get away with just doing the same eyes that you use for guys. I think you need to have something else to differentiate them.
Yeah, but I really, really like that one. Personally, I think that's a style you could focus on developing.
Yeah, I'd like to. What it is because I want to do a graphic novel, and I'm like, man, I gotta find ways to make this easier on myself, so that I'm not spending like days and days and days working on like one picture, and you gotta. And also, just when you learn about what people do for animation, a big part of it is the style has to be simple enough that it can be replicated literally hundreds of thousands of frames, and it's not too difficult to draw.
Yeah, that's the issue. That's the issue that I have with my characters, and what I would like to see and what I know I can't see. For example, for the corporate CEO that has been unlocked as a second playable character. I'm redesigning this character right now because it's going to be a playable character, so I have to put more effort into it. Not that I didn't before, but my my initial idea for the redesign was that his I can't pronounce the word properly. I'm going to try it. I wanted his suit to be iridescent. Is that a word?
Iridescent?
Iridescent, yes. Yeah. So and reflective and changing colors all the time. And I thought, okay. No, because now I think, okay, now I know pixel art, right? Because that means Indrek has to draw every fucking pixel and how it changes with the light. And then I have like 10 frames in just turning animations. So no, I can't do that.
Well, that's the trade-off when it's not a 3D render. You can't apply lighting when you apply
yes, an
lighting,
RGB suit, hobo.
When you apply lighting, you're changing the entire asset. You have to redraw everything from scratch.
Yes. Yes.
I really like the design of the corporate CEO though. Like he's just you can tell that he's evil.
But by the way, corporate CEO was interesting because we talked a bit about different skin colors and diversity earlier. Yeah, corporate CEO, I wanted it originally to be black, but due to the way pixels work and due to the way how few pixels we have available, dude, when he was like really black, looked as if he had no mouth and shit because the color difference wasn't gonna. So Indrek said, "Okay, we're gonna make him Cuban." So all right, go ahead.
Yes,
now he's a Cuban CEO.
He does look a bit Latin American.
Yeah. I think his skin colors could still pass as black, but yeah, it's supposed to be Cuban now. So that's a thing of how few pixels we have.
You got a couple of robots in there too, which is good.
Yes, and now you also see the picture of the barkeeper that you concept arted first. So it's still close to your design.
Similar color, yeah, but he's got half robotic face now.
Yeah, I added that.
Yeah, that's good. I like robots. What can I say? I really like robots. I find them fascinating. And that's the gangster rapper robot. That one here.
No. The gangster rapper robot is it's the one with the turtleneck.
Yeah, that's right. This one here, the turtleneck.
Yeah, I don't know why those pictures don't become bigger. They're supposed to become bigger.
Yeah, they're not as big as I was thinking.
No, not the thumbnail is bigger as the picture. Well done, me. Yeah, I see that Morton is responsible for the site redesign. It's just so many things I have to care about right now. Can't do them all.
No, but man, like you've done a great job in terms of bringing it, like actually creating something in a few months. Because I remember when you first mentioned it, that was like that wasn't long ago. That was not long ago.
No, it was. Well, in August I had my first try with this graphics artist thing that didn't work out quite well. Mm-hmm. And then I think in beginning November, we started out with Indrek, and all that you see is November. So
right.
That's yeah. Now that you say it, I think we did a good job for that amount of time.
I mean, you got a professional composer as well. Which.
Oh yeah, trying to get Jeff Kurtenecker. That was amazing. I thought I was out of my. But that's exactly the thing about confidence. I'm gonna hammer the point home about confidence. I thought, okay, Jeff Kurtenecker. I really like his soundtrack in Wildstar. Wildstar, a game that has been played by millions of people. And he was the main composer, and he has learned from Hans Zimmer. So he was in his. Yes, he's a direct student of Hans Zimmer, and he's worked with the LA Symphony Orchestra and everything.
Wow.
What did I do? What I just said, hey, Jeff, want to work for me? Yeah, sure. Like, really? Okay, cool. All right, so here's the thing that I'm doing. And now, I'm actually, well, I would consider ourselves acquaintances at least. We definitely like each other. I plan on when I'm going to LA later this year to meet up with him, have a couple of drinks, and he is very excited for this project now. As in, he sends me emails without me prompting him to, asking about things and saying how excited he is and how great this is. And I'm, all right, well, guess I'm working with Jeff Kurtenecker now.
I'm just now pulling up some of the music that I can find.
You can use. Please go to the Kickstarter page for that, and
yes.
To the music section, because we have a 4-minute video. We can show that, showing both the music composed by Technogoat, who is Greetings program. Some of you may actually know Technogoat because he made music for my YouTube channel as well. And Jeff Kurtenecker, and then 2 of the licensed songs.
You gotta have some synthy stuff in here, you know? Like, you can't do cyberpunk without synthwave.
Yeah. Actually, unmuted. It was muted, I saw that.
No, I one of my favorite composers from...
It's still muted, by the way.
What do you mean muted? The music is... I can hear that.
We can't.
Is it muted?
It's muted.
Is it? Hold on.
Yeah. Maybe desktop audio source or something?
Yeah, desktop audio is the one that I've had for the discussion the whole time. So
alright.
Is it?
You didn't hear it? Why can't I? Oh! That's my fault.
Yeah,
because I got the stream muted, because otherwise I would be echoing.
Yeah,
sorry, my good sir.
Nah,
sorry, mate. Sorry, my fault. My fault.
Right. I've just dimmed it so that we can keep talking while it's playing. I like this one.
Yeah. He's Technogoat, Greetings program. He has been making all the General Destroyer songs. And I did not know that he actually also had a synthwave business. That's him. And now that we also reached the stretch goal of radio channels, he apparently even has a couple of synthwave artists to work actually to fill my synthwave radio channel within Bornholm.
You know, I gotta say, I was surprised when I heard the main theme. I was like, oh, this got lyrics. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Because it's surprising, because there aren't a lot of games that have lyrics for the songs.
Yeah, the lyrics coming up with them with Jeff Kurtenecker was also something that was very amazed by and uncomfortable with at the beginning. Because right, so this is your raid. Can I request lyrics that will be sung? Yeah, you can. And originally he wanted to bring in an opera singer from the LA Opera.
Right.
She came in, she sung, but before that he already sang a demo just between the 2 of us, and I said, in the end, can you not sing that? So, and then in the end, this is Jeff Kurtenecker voice as well, meaning he's saving the money for the singer.
That's right, yeah.
And so that was great.
Oh, that's really cool. I guess because Metal Gear Solid has a lot of songs that actually have lyrics in them, and they're actually kind of unique for that.
I think lyrics lend something, a lot of personality.
Man, I'm really like the majority of songs that I listen to don't have lyrics. I like orchestral music. I like music that's just instrumental.
Yeah.
But there are some times when I like lyrics. It really depends. It's kind of like, it's not that I dislike lyrics. It's just that a lot of the songs that have lyrics are like on radio and they suck. And
No, no, you're absolutely right. It's just, and as you said, in games, it's rare that lyrics are part of the main theme, for example. And I think in this case, it lends, personality to the game.
It was like Metal Gear Solid 5 had that song in the trailer. It's like, oh shit,
Yeah.
this is awesome.
I think, for example, also of James Bond, you know?
Yeah.
All, the title themes
Yes.
almost always have lyrics, and it wouldn't be the same without them.
Yes, that's right. But then, you know, if Halo had...
Oh yeah, by the way, Fringy, that's the song that I based the Android rapper Gangsta Nerd off on.
I'm really looking forward to seeing that gangster rapper character show up.
Yes. I already have this all in my head how it's gonna turn out, how we're gonna meet this character. So, yo, bitches. Wait, you're an android. What the fuck? No, I'm not. I'm MC, you know.
No, I'm MC Ludacris, yo.
Yes. We may even have to expand this to, he may not even be realizing that he is an android.
Is he a
Dude,
console
you have like a
peasant?
metal face. No, I don't.
It's just a flesh wound.
Exactly.
Is
Yes,
he a
so I'm very
console
happy.
fanboy, though? Or is he a PC elitist?
Ooh. Well, he has to be a console fanboy now, doesn't he?
Oh, well, you know.
Well,
he's-
does
he's
he? I
still-
don't know. No,
he's
no,
still-
actually.
He's still hung up over Crackdown 330 years later.
Well, stuff like that will be in the game because I don't know if you know, but in there's one Easter egg in the demo when Evie looks at her nightstand. She says she has been collecting PC gaming magazines from the last 100 years. She's currently reading one which says that the Star Citizen beta was released in 2037. So, yeah.
That game's never coming out, guys. Give up. It's a lost cause.
Hey, the beta came out in 2037, so...
They made so much money. There's no excuse. They made like $200 million.
Well, I would never say that I'm a believer, but I do see the progress. I think they're the slowest persons ever, and I believe it's a generational project. But so is Dwarf Fortress.
I don't
I
know.
believe it will come out.
I think it will come out, but because now they've got like Mark Hamill and all this attached to it. They've got these A-list actors.
Yeah, but that happened a couple of years ago.
Did
So
it?
that money's
Okay.
that money's already out. That was in 2015 or so that they did all that. So that was they have been sitting on their fucking motion capture shit for 3 years or 4 years now.
Jesus.
Yeah. So I believe it will come out. I believe it's a horribly inefficient team, but I also believe it will come out. So
It has to at this point. I think there'll be just mass.
yeah, you know,
chaos.
and I think both the fanboys and the haters have points in this case. But what I don't understand is going full conspiracy theory and saying that this is a scam. Because
no
if
way.
Star Citizen is a scam, this is the worst scam ever.
Yeah.
Because the amount of money that they must be burning for office spaces and for wages, come on, it would have been just easier for him to just run the fuck away with that
Cancel
money.
it, you know, they would have just
Yeah.
cancelled it by this point.
So no, worst scam ever. So if I would ever have the notion of making a scam, no, not like that.
No, definitely not. Right now, I'm just on the Kickstarter page again. I'm going through the stretch goals that have
Oh yeah, baby.
been cleared very quickly. So 16,000
Oh, yes, they have.
karma system, 18,000 translation to German, French, and Spanish. So
Yes.
you know,
By the way, I would like to comment on that because I got one very pissy idiot commenting, who is by the way a German translator. Maybe he was pissed I didn't hire him or something. I don't know. Who said, "Oh, you cannot have a translation for just 2,000 more in 3 languages. Even if you do that, you could never do that." Whatever. And he never asked me how I managed this. He just went out to Twitter and said, "You can't do it. Please, developers, don't do the same thing that he did." Little did he know, the little idiot. Sorry, I'm really miffed at him. Then I'm a German native speaker, meaning I can do the German translation myself. And that the Spanish translation is going to be done by volunteers from my community because Shannara can do that. Meaning I have to pay one person.
to do French.
No, not that Shannara is not going to be paid, but I mean professional rates. I'm going to have to pay professional rates to one person who's doing the French translations. And that also then includes, funds that I'm going to use on my own. It's nowhere does it say there that the difference between 16,000 and 18,000 will pay for all 3 of those translations. It's gonna happen at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, okay, it costs $2,000 to do it. It's like, oh,
No.
for $2,000, I'm gonna increase the length of the game. That'll cost me $2,000. Like, that's
Yes.
not what you're doing. It's your total
No,
budget.
I think it's pretty obvious that this is not, if I get 2,000 more, I'm gonna spend those 2,000 on this.
No.
I think that's not how stretch goals work.
Well, it's not how any financing or budgeting works. I mean, you have to be a fucking idiot to think that's how it works.
Yes. And when I called him out on it and contacted him on Twitter saying, you have no fucking idea what you're talking about, he said, well, and then you want to release it on Linux and Mac too. I don't think you can do that either. I think you're biting more than you can chew. At this point, I muted him because I forgot, or rather, no, I replied to him in a very top and champagne way, and then I deleted all the tweets. Remembering that now I'm a professional.
You can't argue with him.
I can't argue like I would as Top and Champagne. I can't call him a retard. I can't. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, okay. But you cleared increased game length, so more scenes.
Yes.
How many scenes are you aiming for now?
40 scenes were the original idea. Now, definitely going to be in the 50 to 60 range.
Awesome.
Because that doesn't translate to 33% more work. It just translates to expanding everything everywhere a little.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, that's right. Because in terms of the core gameplay mechanics, that's already pretty much down.
Hobo says he kept responding to the guy and made him look like an idiot. Well, this guy very much looked like an idiot by himself. But what I really liked about this guy on Twitter was that he actually doubled down with this shit. I said, don't assume. Ask me next time. Ask me how I'm going to handle this. No problem. I would explain this to you. Yeah, but here's the other thing. Okay. Then I called him a retard and I deleted things.
Well, that's the thing. It's just, you got to try not to just assume. You got to, I mean, you can make some assumptions, sure, but if you're not familiar with the situation, it's worthwhile to just ask.
I think
half of
my career on YouTube is just about telling people to stop assuming things.
Yeah, it's just don't be so fucking hostile. Like, just ask them. So for 22,500 in-game radio stations that
I love that one.
That's a cool one.
Yeah, that was a stretch goal we didn't even have in originally. That was the bonus stretch goal I promised if we funded the game within 24 hours,
which
and we
then
did.
Happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for $25,000, cyberspace. So you're going real Cyberpunk 2077 on this one.
I think we're gonna go more Cyberpunk than 2077 is gonna be able to, because Eevee is gonna be able to switch to cyberspace VR world at will. Then.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you can do that in 2077.
We don't know enough about 2077 really.
I know very little about it.
Well, I know that you can, like, when you take. This was from the demo. When you take down enemies, you can sort of like hack into their thing. Oh. $5 from Cheesy Mobus Wolf.
Hello, Cheesy Mobus Wolf, who would obviously change his name.
Praise Cheesy Mac and alcohol. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much, man. All right, so and now you've got second playable character for the corporate CEO character, which is great. Now 35,000 for the full soundtrack by Jeff Kurtenacker, if I said that right.
Yeah, Jeff Kurtenacker. Yeah.
It's just I thought you said Jeff Kurtzenacker, and I'm like, what the? There's no Z. Where the fuck did that come from?
No, may just be me being.
Yeah, that's all right. And then $40,000, which will probably
Yes.
So you guys who are watching right now, head over to the Kickstarter. The link in the description. You might be able to.
Yeah. So I'm feeling pretty confident about the $40,000 goal because we have 16 days to go.
Yeah, it seems like a given.
Every other goal we're gonna see about that. I do hope to reach 50,000. Everything else is. Can you go? Yeah, everything else is then going to be.
Because next you've got translation to Portuguese, Polish, Italian.
Yes.
You got voice acting for German, French, and Spanish.
Yes, and in this case, the jump from 50,000 to 75,000, that would then be a literal translation of those $25,000 would be spent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that's going to be a whole lot of...
That would be really expensive, yeah.
Yes.
But then,
I think in the end it's worth it, though, because especially Germans play a lot of point-and-click adventures.
Yeah, I mean, people keep forgetting about the European market, especially sort of Xbox fanboys. They think it's all America, but European is a huge.
Yeah, it
gaming
depends
market.
on the genre. It's just, you know, especially what you're saying, Xbox fanboys, they are so Americanized, they don't realize that most of the games that they play actually have no appeal to so many people in different regions.
Well, they are not the entire industry. You know, there is a whole industry.
Far from it.
You know,
Far from it.
The Xbox brand is not that relevant on a global scale when it comes to video games.
No.
Sony
And even the
is pretty
genres that
relevant, but, you know,
even the genres that they play, even the consoles that they play on.
well, third-person action adventure games are like, at best, they sell about 8 million to 10 million, which would be like Uncharted 4 is sort of at the top.
And the reason why they sell so much is because there are so few of them. Insofar, I know there are so many of them in the context of consoles, but in relation to all of the games existing, they're just a tiny niche, pretty much.
Well,
and Germans,
a tiny niche by comparison to like MOBAs and shit, you know?
Yeah, Germans love their manual labor simulators for some stupid shit reason.
Like
Germans love point-and-click adventures. They love economy simulators. It's a completely different world.
Well, it's just remember, guys, there are genres beyond the games where you shoot things. Like there is more than that.
Yes. So in Germany, for example, point-and-click adventures are in the top 3 of the most played genres. So, and I think the same applies to Poland. The same applies to many of the Eastern European countries.
I think
people
Russia,
scoff
they
at
like
consoles.
shooters, though. In
Yeah.
Russia, they play and Tetris, I guess.
Yeah, but yeah, what they play, they are in a little bubble without ever looking.
I guess like it's just I watched the Nintendo Direct the other day, and all I could think is, man, like there is a lot of reasons to own the Nintendo Switch because of the consoles. It's got the most diverse library of first-party games,
and it's not just a feature-locked PC.
No, I mean it's a portable device. That's one of the key benefits to it. Like. People criticize Nintendo, rightfully so, for like their online service, but man, they make good games and they at least try to make interesting systems.
Fringy, I'm gonna quickly pop off to the loo.
Yeah, no worries.
And I'll be right back.
I'll keep on that, by the way. Talk about the Nintendo Direct.
I'm sure you're gonna be quite entertaining, man.
Man, but yeah, like you guys would have seen the Nintendo Direct. That was a good Direct. Because they're not always great. Like, they're kind of hit or miss a lot of the time. But that one was good. Super Mario Maker 2, which I am really keen to play because if I want to start game deving, I think it would be great to use that tool to sort of mess around with level design and figure out what works and what doesn't. Link's Awakening, which I've never played before. Really cool. I know that people are criticizing the art style, but I, at this point, have just come to accept that when Nintendo tries out an innovative art style, it's going to be good. They've never gone awry with an innovative art style, at least not that I can think of. I mean, Paper Mario. I mean, the earliest example would probably be Yoshi's Island. But you got Paper Mario, you got Wind Waker, you got Yoshi's Woolly World, and now Yoshi's Crafted World, which I played the demo. Looks awesome. I would definitely get that because Yoshi is the best Mario character, and you can fight me on that one. What else? There's one more game that I'm forgetting. No, there isn't another game I'm forgetting about. They're really good at every time they try a really distinct art style, it works well. And that's why I have no doubts that I will enjoy it. And yeah, I have never played Link's Awakening, so that'd be a good one to play. Astral Chain. You can't see me because I don't have a webcam, but I was there, like, waving my arms in the air. That looks so great. I'm really keen on that one. That one looks fantastic. Platinum can do no wrong. Well, they can. They have made bad games. But they're doing really well again. You know, they were doing really well. Bayonetta 2, really good. They kind of slumped after that, but they're coming back up. I'm surprised we didn't hear about Bayonetta 3. They're just like, yeah, it's coming. It got announced 2 years ago, but yeah, it's coming. But I'm sure that'll be great as well. I know there's a rumor that Scalebound's coming to, nothing can change my feelings on Shy Guy, Shy Guy is like number 2, man, on my list. He's definitely at the top 5, that's for sure. Shy Guy is the best. There was they had Fire Emblem, which
Hello there.
Oh yeah, I was just gushing over the Nintendo Direct that happened a few days ago. It was there was Tetris 99 was a really big surprise, and that's such a great idea. Battle Royale, but Tetris. Like, you can forget about. I've been playing Apex Legends, which
It's kind of also a troll, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. It's like, hey guys, Tetris 99, you know, Battle Royale for Tetris, and it's caught on really quickly.
But you know what I like about it? Just to perhaps continue where we left off.
Yeah.
It's not about shooting things.
No, it's not.
And I'm certainly not a Jonathan McIntosh who says, oh, violence is bad in games, blah, blah, blah. But if we go to the mainstream, I think there is an overrepresentation of violence in the games.
But I don't think it's limited to games. I think it's just a thing that is in media in general. Like, think about the most popular movies.
Yes.
Most of the violence.
Exactly. And I don't think there's anything wrong in pointing that out. And I don't think there's anything wrong in trying, or at least in trying to make something different from that and making it mainstream too.
There's nothing wrong with that.
The problem only starts when you say, and you shouldn't have your violent games.
Right.
That's where the problem starts.
If you say, like, it's immoral, it's like, what the fuck? Like, you know,
yeah. But you know, I personally find it very frustrating when I argue with console peasants, for example. Not that I do that anymore, really, but when I jump in every now and then. And they argue about, well, for example, the PS4 has the best games ever. And then what? You have your third-person action adventure, your third-person action adventure, your third-person action adventure. But if I wanted to, I could even boil it down even more. Until I arrive at, you guys only kill things. You never do anything else.
Is, you know, one of the reasons why I really like stealth games is because the best stealth games tend to let you play without killing anyone, which I really like.
The best RPGs as well, by the way.
Yeah, that's right. Finding non-lethal options to... It's, you know, like Deus Ex, which I always gush over. You can play that game without killing anyone.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
Arcanum, by the way. I don't know. Do you know Arcanum?
Arcane.
Classic.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
All right. Never mind then. Carry on.
Thief is another great example. I love Thief, man. Thief is so well designed and well written. It makes me sad that there's no more Thief games anymore.
Yeah, there was Thief-4.
Thief-4, which didn't have the original voice actor for Garrett and was a reboot and wasn't good.
By the way, so to switch the topic here, talking about voice actors again, I actually tried to get Jennifer Hale.
Did you?
But I went to her website, and one of the first sentences on her website was, I'm the one who takes the boys' jobs away. And then her professional website continues with, and here is how I bashed this man there, and here is how I fucked this man up there, and feminism here and feminism there. And I thought, well, okay. How about, no, I mean, if I'm so bad as a man, I don't need to hire you. It's okay. Maybe it wouldn't have worked for me anyway, but I don't even want to contact you anymore. I found this very disappointing. Especially on a professional website.
When you find someone with pronouns in their Twitter bio, it's
yes.
Like, nope.
Yes, I did say that, and it's true. I did. Somebody in the chat also said, it sounds like you were trying to recruit on Twitter. We are online. Yes, I also tried using Twitter as a recruitment tool, and I did, in the end, find my perfect graphics artist via Reddit, so it's not like it can't work. But the very first thing that I checked for was the bio of somebody. If they had anything political in there, nope, because I don't think that's a good start.
Yeah, because the thing is, it's not even about pronouns. It's the fact. It's what it tells people. About
yes,
you.
It implies a lot of things.
Yeah.
So politics were out. Pronouns were even more out, because I can't trust a person with pronouns in their bio. I can't trust them to not turn on me when, for example, I say something publicly that they don't agree with. That is what is implied in my head. I can't trust them to deliver results without, trying to take a 5 weeks mental holiday vacation thing. I don't know. There's just so many things I combine with those pronouns. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I know what you mean.
I don't trust them to be reliable.
Well, I don't necessarily take it that far. It's more like, if any employer found out that they were hiring someone who was particularly politically active, they're like, man, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to deal with this.
Do what you want on your personal account, but if you're using your account for professional reasons and political ones, then you're out, pretty much.
Right.
I mean, that's the reason why I have a TAC account and an Insert This 22 account. My Insert This 22 account is professional. You will find no politics there. It's neutral. My TAC account, well, you know that.
Politics galore. Yeah. No, I've done the same thing with an account that you haven't seen yet for a thing that I've been working on, business venture of sorts, and that is totally separate, non-political as well. So just because it's like, you really run the risk of pissing people off.
Yeah.
So it might be better to avoid doing that.
Morton says in the chat right now, just say it, TAC, you only hire slavs. Well, I will be honest here. From my limited experience now, the best results I've gotten from males, whites in their 30s. I'm boning things down on my black friend. White males in their 30s from Eastern Europe. Those are the persons that have delivered most efficiently and quickly so far in my endeavors.
Interesting. Well, I remember you had said earlier on, I can't remember where it was, but you said something along the lines of that you just got better results from older people.
Yes, which is not something I know. I joke around with millennials, but I don't really blame them. Right. It's not a generational thing; it's an age thing, and I know I was the same. You just take things more seriously when you're older because you have a whole world to explore when you're younger. It's okay. Yeah. It's just that I wanted to give young people a chance, and they didn't live up to it. That's it, pretty much. Right. This whole millennials are shit thing is just added trolling.
It is funny though, because I had actually come to you with the offer of making stuff.
Yes. Well, Fringy, you are not the average young person anyway.
I hear that a lot, not to brag.
I heard that a lot myself when I was young. Mm-hmm. See how I am, what I'm now. Somebody who's talking to a dude in Australia having drunk a six-pack already.
I wish I could say that I was an avid alcoholic.
No. What I mean is, I think it's a good sign that you're hearing this because I heard it as well, and I think it just means that you're not one of the sheep.
I hope it bodes well. Let's put it that way. I hope that it bodes well for like any future prospects.
I think so.
Whenever I get around to making my game, which will happen at some point.
Yes.
With its crazy ass narrative, because I'm one of those people.
Yeah. By the way, that reminds me, I also want to address one thing. I probably would not even have half of this Kickstarter success if I wouldn't have built an audience and community and friends before this. So it's not like I found because I got a couple of questions in Discord and Twitter. How did you do this? Nobody has heard of you in the indie dev scene. Suddenly you're there and you have this Kickstarter going on and successful. It's not. I have a YouTube channel with 60,000 subscribers. I have a Twitch channel that's successful. I have fostered a community over the years. I don't think that's a normal way to go around these things. I mean, nobody should be required, I want to be a game dev, so therefore I'm going to become a YouTuber and do that for 5 years. I don't think that's the usual way it goes. I'm just very happy and thankful that I was able to make the connections and engage honestly with people before that. Now I'm pretty much a little bit, at least on a YouTuber and shilling side, cashing in a bit of social credit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I definitely know what you mean. It's like I've always sort of had the opinion that because I always had like once I start doing freelancing, it's like a lot of other people don't have an audience, but I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I probably squandered a little bit by not uploading anything, but still, like, there's still people I talk to regularly. There's still something there. So it's like, there's something. There's not nothing. I'm not starting with no, base. And there's probably it's the same with indie dev thing. I think to do things,
it would be that much harder to start from zero with this thing.
Yes.
On the other hand, I tried my darndest to not connect my tech business with my Insert This 22 business, and nonetheless, I was able to grow my Twitter account on Insert This 22 from 400 followers that I had originally, which was because this account was my Twitter banned me account before. From 400 followers to 1,400 4 months later. So you can organically grow without having that background. But I think most people just don't make the effort. I think that goes back to this whole marketing thing.
Do the work initially. It'll pay off in the end.
Yeah, people need to realize that in order to do anything, you can't start the real work of letting people know about what you're doing just before it happens.
I mean, there is certain validity to that. Like, there is a way of doing, sort of a stealth release where you're like, hey guys, here's this game, it's out today. But
yeah, but you have to count on luck then and virality.
Well, it depends on how big you are. Like with the game.
Well,
Apex
if you're big,
Legends,
you don't give a shit. It's gonna it's gonna work.
Right. Like with the game Apex Legends, it's a AAA video game, so they can announce it and it's immediately downloaded by 25 million.
Now I'm really talking about a startup, never before published indie dev.
No, you've got to do that work. You got to market.
Exactly.
I mean, it's the same with novels as well. People just throw it out, and it's like nobody knows who you are. Nobody's invested.
And on Reddit, for example, I'm subscribed now to the game dev Reddit subreddit, and as always on Reddit, it's full of fucking whiny people. So well, it's true. Game it's the same on Twitch. I was subscribed to the subreddit of Twitch, and the people on Twitch on the Twitch subreddit always went, I've been streaming for a year now. I only get like 1 or 2 viewers.
Yeah.
And then you check out the channel and they sit there like there's some sort of lobotomized construct, looking completely stupid and pretty much doing nothing.
Who needs to try,
Yeah, same with game dev. I've been opening this game for 2 years now, and then I just released it on Steam. I had 10 sales. Why? It's a good game. Because you're fucking retard and don't know how the world works. That's why.
I thought you said you weren't going to be mean anymore.
No. I'm with you today.
No, that's right. So it's okay.
This is. I mean, you using the tag avatar on your banner.
I am.
On your thumbnail.
This is the top hats and champagne, which means he's more savage.
It's also very different, by the way, from what I expected, because I really thought that some of the journalists that I contacted, and it was over 300 of them, that they would do a little bit of research and perhaps find out that it's actually top of the champagne behind that to make a hit piece or something like that.
That didn't happen.
That didn't happen at all. So I'm on one hand very happy about that. On the other hand, a bit sad.
Yeah, it's like you kind of long for that attention,
Yeah, in our Discord, it was a huge discussion. What would be better? Would it be better to attract the SJW so they can screech about you, to make people buy the game out of spite?
Well, I mean,
would it be better to be
thing, isn't it?
Yes, or would it be better to just be completely neutral and just not pull any attention to it?
I don't know. That's an interesting controversy. Controversy sells.
Yes. So I did something before the Kickstarter started, and that was I actually privated a couple of videos that I don't want to be used as cannon fodder. I will put them public again afterwards, but I put into private mode all political videos that had to do with Islam, for example, anything that had to do with Trump, American politics, German politics, because I think that would be damaging, perhaps.
Well, it's not necessarily that you disagree with what you might have said in the video, but it's more that you don't want it.
I stand behind those words, and I would defend them if I would be called out on them. It's just that I didn't want this any media coverage to focus on this shit.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's fair enough.
If anybody would call me out on this, I would say, no, that's my opinion. Fuck off, bitch. But I didn't think it necessary at that point.
No, it's kind of a shame, though, that in this political climate, it's like you can't have opinions without people trying to use it to ruin your life.
Yeah.
And I like saying ruin your life because I want it to sound as sinister as it is. They're trying to ruin your life. They're trying to fuck you over.
Yes. And it's very close to the topic I talked about earlier, how all those indie game devs that are networked with are on the progressive scale rather than the conservative scale or libertarian scale. And unfortunately, now I think it would be hurting my market viability if it would become a controversy. Because I think many people on our side would jump to my defense, but I think the vast majority of people who would buy the game are just politically neutral at the end.
Right.
So,
yeah.
I can only get so many political activists from our side to buy my game to make up for lost sales. You know?
Yeah, that's right. It's not really worth it at that point.
No.
It kind of sucks that that's how it works, though. You know, like, oh, well, you're fucked now. We got you.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, I don't want to be political. Definitely not
No.
as my game company, but people could make it political.
Which is not the desired outcome, obviously.
No.
It's kind of it makes me depressed actually when I think about the political climate, how shit it is.
Yeah, it is shit. But it's
like-
gonna get better.
Is it though? I don't know.
Yes.
You reckon?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we want to talk about this subject?
Sure. Most definitely. I mean, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to bring out my age prick again on this one then,
Yes.
because this is not the first time I'm going through this cycle. It's
Yeah,
just
no.
that the last time I went through this cycle, it was coming from the right.
Right.
This upheaval, this society is horrible. In the 90s, the extreme right had a big grudge, and they had the power, and they had the votes, and they tried to censor everything that we did, just like the left now does. But eventually, the pendulum swung the other way, and eventually things came into equilibrium again.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's going to happen again.
Yeah, I think it will.
Just because it always happens. I mean, we have thousands of years of history to look back to.
Mm-hmm.
And don't you think that this has happened thousands of times before?
Yeah,
in some
that's
way?
right. I often hear from my mum, like she's like, oh, well, everything is cycles, you know, everything
Yeah.
like goes back the way that it was eventually, you know, and not just politically, but in terms of a lot of social things as well, like people
Very
getting
much so.
married
And
old, people getting married young. Stuff
Yeah,
like that.
and I think there's also a logical reason behind that.
Mhm.
I mean, in the case of why the left is currently so supreme and trying to be so suppressive, is that we live in exceptionally good times right now.
Yes, we
meaning we literally have
No
so
problems, really.
we don't have any pressing problems. Seriously, I can't think of any right now.
Not any like life-threatening, you know, problems, you know.
No. And that is the problem that happens when a society advances.
Mhm.
People have time to complain about shit.
Yes.
What also happens is that by people complaining about shit happens, then shit goes down.
Yes.
And then you need hard people again to clear the shit up.
Easy times make like hard times.
Yeah.
Hard men make good times make weak men make hard times.
Exactly. And we are in the weak man's time.
We are in the hard times make weak men era,
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
I know hope Venezuelans would disagree. I'm talking about Western civilization right now.
Venezuela.
Sure, Africa, Venezuela, and North Korea would disagree with that. I'm talking about our civilization.
I think Venezuela's got bigger fish to fry at the moment.
Yeah.
So
no, I think it's going to be fine. I mean, I think we already see it with the current generation that's growing up. They're already rebelling a little bit against this political correctness shit that's going on.
Are they though? I don't know. I'm not convinced by that, to be honest with you.
I can't give you any factual
well, the thing is,
rebuttal
I'm
to
young enough
that.
I sort of
Yeah, you grew up with this shit, unfortunately, now.
Well,
Yeah.
no, I mean like I'm young because I'm not Generation Z or whatever that is. Like I'm a millennial, so but like I've met enough Gen Z people that I'm not convinced, you know, necessarily. But we'll see. Maybe when they get older, you know, because a lot of them are still in school, so they're probably not.
Yeah, we'll see. And I think by now I also have a little bit of that perspective that says eventually most of the people will grow out of that bullshit that they're doing. I mean, can you imagine somebody who's 40 or 50 years old screeching at you about respecting their pronouns?
Well, yeah, I guess I wonder what's going to happen in 10 or 15 years when the internet, you know, still exists and it's basically this big catalogue of all the stupid shit you said.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh, stupid.
Yes. So, I mean, look at the people, some of them even conservative now, and what they were when they were young. Many of them were punks, you know, the real punk. The ones who were pissing on the street, masturbating in public, vomiting in your backyard and all that. they are now respectable members of society. I think pronouns and I think this extreme leftism is going to get eventually squashed by age and by counter movements. Then we're going to have to deal with the other side again. But,
yeah, that's right. Like, I don't like pretending that, right wingers got gamers back. It's like,
yeah.
you know, Paul Joseph Watson, I'm sure, is really looking out for our best interests, you know.
Yeah. Paul Joseph Watson, I want to put
Depression
all the responsibility for
real.
Yeah.
The pharmaceutical companies want to make money off depression. It's like, fuck off.
Ben Shapiro. Facts don't care about your feelings. Well, I truly believe in God, though.
Yes. I find that just kind of hilarious to me. It's like, oh man, I'm a factual person. It's like, cool. Do not tell me that you go to church every week. It's like, oh, well, of course I do. I don't want to go to hell. You know, I'm not a blasphemer.
Yeah. So, no,
I got too deep a voice to do the Ben Shapiro thing very well. I have to really like get nasally.
The only thing that I'm concerned about is that I don't know how what role the internet plays in this pendulum thing. I'm not sure whether the internet is not capable of eradicating this pendulum because of a permanent exposure to the mainstream opinion.
That's,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I think about this a lot, especially now with artificial intelligence becoming closer and closer. The whole cycle thing, will that change when we have an invention that is probably as significant to humanity as agriculture? You know, like, I'd say the internet is probably, you know, pretty significant, but AI is going to be, like, the most significant invention since agriculture.
Yeah, I mean, right now we're already facing a future, or rather, we are facing a present in which our careers on YouTube are, well, depending on a fucking bot decision.
Yeah.
People get banned from YouTube before they get a manual human review.
The thing is, though, the bot's done nothing wrong. It's done what the people who made it said that it's meant to do.
I think both arguments are not enough in this case, because yes, the bots do what the programmer does, but if it's a truly self-learning algorithm, then they might produce different effects from what is intended. Mm-hmm. The most important thing is that at the end, when the bot says, I have found this, that there is another human factor at the end reviewing it.
But that gets into the interesting subject of, and this is something I really want to write a story about, what happens if an artificial intelligence becomes like political? What happens if it learns social things that it then believes to be correct all the time? And what effect would that have on the people that it interacts with?
I think this concern or fear is overrated right now, because in the end, nothing right now that I know of indicates that we would be giving away ultimate control over AI, meaning we will always have a kill switch.
Right.
But what I'm fearing rather is that nobody right now is bothering to make use of those kill switches. Again, I'm going to use YouTube as an example because we are on this platform. The algorithm is doing what it does. It yesterday, I think, terminated a couple of Pokemon accounts because CP was in the video titles a lot of times, which apparently means something in Pokemon. I'm not sure what it means, but was interpreted as child pornography. Right. That could have been easily rectified if they had only had one person looking over the bot reviews and clicking approve, decline, which obviously didn't happen. So, meaning, I don't think AI can take over because nobody is stupid enough to not implement a kill switch, but we are stupid enough not to use it.
I saw something the other day that has actually kind of changed my opinion on AI a little bit, which was you'll love this, by the way. It's like a computer that was able to create anime waifus.
Fucking hell, mate.
It was able to create anime waifus like all on its own, and the implication there is, what if creativity is actually something that can be replicated by an AI, like for real?
I think it is.
Yeah,
I think it is.
I think it will be too, but that's probably going to terrify people. Because a lot of people are like, oh, well, AI can't feel. It's like, maybe it can't, but like it can replicate it. So what difference is there? You know.
Okay, now give me a second to think about this, or rather, what I'm going to say, because there's two different statements I want to make. The first statement is, I think we are biological computers without free will.
Right.
My second statement is, though, it doesn't matter.
No, it
because
doesn't matter because it
I still
effectively-
feel like I have free will.
right, exactly. It makes
so-
no difference.
Whether I am a automaton or not, it doesn't matter because I have the illusion of free will. I'm able to do whatever I want, and just because I came to my personal realization that I am an automaton doesn't mean I want to give up on life. Because why?
What's the point of
I'm
that?
having
you
fun.
know, like if you find out that like you know that you're basically a biological robot doing everything by
Yes.
design, it's like well,
So-
you know.
So knowing what we know about the human body, knowing the dependencies of hormones and triggers that correspond to electrical signals, neurons, shit like that. If we were able to simulate that perfectly, we would be able to perfectly simulate a human. Therefore, we would be able to perfectly simulate creativity. But I don't think that's something to be afraid of.
No, I guess in the sense that it puts you out of a job. More so than
Yes,
Yeah.
the notion of a job is very yesterday.
well,
I think.
yeah, once we have truly self-learning AI, we may not need anybody to do jobs, but then that creates an entirely new existential crisis that we're probably not prepared
Frankie, I'm gonna come out now. I'm gonna say it. Communism is the end of all. Because in the end, if you don't need to compete because you can do everything automated, you don't need capitalism anymore. Then you
Right.
can go to communism.
Well, I just,
Disclaimer: I'm not a fucking commie. I hope you know what I fucking mean.
I just think that it's going to be a really fascinating period of human history to see what the transition is going to be, because, like I said, I think it will be as significant as when we developed agriculture and society came to
Yeah.
be. It'll be kind of, we can speculate on it a lot, but we don't really know what it'll look like because we don't really know what artificial intelligence is. But I feel like as well, that's probably the nail in the coffin for all religions. We
Personally,
created
and that is just
intelligent life, you know?
really just a subjective opinion. I think we are not gonna face a AI takeover.
No, I
I
don't
think
either.
humanity and AI will merge eventually.
I think so too. It'll be like, you know, the whole Deus Ex singularity, kind of like the machines and humans merging together and living in like a digital
I, for
network.
one, I'm ready for my brain implants. I'm ready for my
Fuck yeah.
arm cybernetics. Fuck that shit. I want it all.
Yeah,
And I
same
think in
here.
the end, as we are all searching for some ways to become immortal, our best bet is to try to make our
Upload ourselves
consciousness.
into the cloud, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's philosophically possible, because we don't know what consciousness even is.
No,
But
but I'm sure that once
provided-
the self-learning AI figures it out, once it becomes self-learning, we're gonna figure out everything really quickly.
yes, I mean, for example, Star Trek, Fringy. When
Yeah.
somebody beams down to a planet on Star Trek, do
Yeah.
you think they die?
Yeah, they die and get replicated.
They die.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? They get a clone. They're dead. Every time they beam, they're fucking dead. So what is consciousness?
Right.
I think consciousness is all about continuity.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as our bodies replace every part of ourselves in the time frame of 7 years, I think,
Yes,
except for
that's right.
certain brain cells. So we are a completely new human every 7 years, pretty much. Still, we consider ourselves the same human, the same entity,
Yeah.
having the same consciousness.
I read an audio. Well, I didn't read it. I listened to an audiobook, Bobiverse, which it was kind of a similar thing where like the main character wasn't the original Bob, but he's like a clone of Bob, but he might as well be Bob because he's the same.
Yeah.
He remembers everything. It's like it's him, but he's not the original one, but he's still
Yes.
effectively Bob. Which is I guess it's just. Yeah, it's getting real existential.
Yeah, I mean, if we talk about AI and how it influences things, we have to get really, really existential. What is humanity? What is consciousness? What is continuity? What is all of this?
But like I said, I
There's
think
no way around it.
once we create AI, it's like, okay, so what has been established is that fallible humans, flesh bags, are able to create life.
Yeah.
So, why God now at this point, you know?
Yeah,
Isn't
absolutely.
he irrelevant? Like, we did it. And we did it
Yeah.
better than he did because it's perfect. Like, you know?
Yes.
So
by the way,
what?
Star Trek, by the way, did prove themselves that it's pretty much a clone and death, because in one episode they transported Riker, which resulted in a clone of Riker being born because of some deflective shit, and both lived, meaning either his consciousness doubled or, clones emerged. But anyway,
No, I know it's that shit's fascinating.
yeah. It is. For me, that's the most important question that we could be asking ourselves as humanity right now, the same as space exploration, but we're too tied up arguing about fucking skin colors and fucking penises and shit.
Like the thing. That is my thing that I want to just be the focus. I want us to go to space. I want us on Mars. I want us in different solar systems.
Yes.
Why are we here? Why are we stuck here? Why can't
because
we leave?
People keep talking about penises!
Let's fix all the problems here. First of all, that is a fruitless endeavor.
You know my wife, yeah?
Yes.
Physics professor and everything, astronaut instructor. My wife gets so fucking triggered by this whole "let's fix problems here" thing. She almost explodes every time, and I just sit back and go, "Okay, she's gonna do that now," because this whole "let's fix things on Earth first" argument implies that we can't do both things at the same time. It implies that you're some sort of ultra human being, because you want to talk about fix. This is what her argument is, by the way, my wife's argument. She says, okay, you want to fix things on Earth first? Okay, you drive a car? Yes, you lost.
Yeah.
You eat meat? Yeah, you lost. You use, do you drink bottled water shipped from Chile? Yes, you lost. So don't give me this whole moralistic standpoint, because however you pull it, you could always be doing something better or different. And secondly, and that is my argument now, the moment we commit to space exploration, we don't need to necessarily save everything that we try to save right now, because then we could be spreading and bringing more resources to Earth.
The important thing about space exploration is, one, the preservation of humanity is dependent on us leaving, but also that there's no way that we're going to become a non-resource scarce species if we stay here.
Yes, eventually we're just going to fizzle out if we stay here.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just going to run out of shit, and that's it.
We're never going to be able to build a Dyson sphere if we're fucking here,
Yes.
We need to go elsewhere.
And I find it so depressing to think that we could just end everything that we've accomplished, everything that anybody has ever thought will end because somebody thought it would be more interesting to solve gender problems instead of fucking building a fucking space elevator to get us to move.
Musk keeps saying, we need a backup. We need to be a backup, and there's the only way that we're going to have a backup is we become a multi-planetary civilization.
Yes.
By the way, you're using the cool. It's fucking cool.
You're using the word backup. I think the word backup is the best word to use there.
Yeah.
We don't need to reinvent humanity. Can we just have make something that gives us a second chance if we really fuck up?
That's right. And also, just be cool. Who doesn't want to go to different planets? Who doesn't want
For all we know right now, we may be the only sentient species in the universe.
Why
probably not.
Shit, why
probably not, but for all we know, I think it's worth it to preserve that by going off our fucking rock.
And not just preserve us, but preserve other animals that are here as well.
Life, yes, pretty much. Okay, yeah, let me rephrase that. We may be the only instance of life.
Yes.
Our planet. Meaning that if we get nuked, there may not be anything like it again.
Which is terrifying. And we need to, and also, again, it's just cool. I want to be a spaceman.
Yeah.
I want to be able to go... I want to, just go to other planets and be able to step off and see.
Just 2 days ago, I told Lady Top Hat, my wife, at the very least, when I die, I would like to see some lights on the moon.
Yeah.
I would.
Yes.
Please, let this be my dream for the end of my life. See some fucking lights of civilization, at least on the moon.
The fact that we're not on the moon is kind of insane. We got there, but we're not doing anything with it, even though it's kind of a perfect place to start off.
Yeah.
Not only for mining, but also for launching into the solar system and beyond. Lower gravity, so if we're there, we'd probably have an easier time of actually launching into space with bigger freight, because we don't have to dedicate as much to just getting it out of Earth. Why aren't we on the moon? Why can't I go on holiday to the moon?
We should be able to go to fucking holiday on the moon, yeah.
We should.
Which is
got
why-
there 50 years ago.
Which is why I adore people like Elon Musk.
Yes.
He is full of flaws, and he's a fucking shitload. I think he's a little bit mentally deficient, but there are so few of him, and there's so few of those people who say no. Let's move forward. Let's just do it. Whatever. You know, this whole Tesla thing may not work out, and it may even be a scam. Who cares? SpaceX may not work out. May even be a scam. Who cares? I say at least he's trying something.
Mm-hmm. He's at least
And there's so
people
few
interested.
people who are trying anything that goes beyond the ground level of idiocy fog.
Well, that's the thing. Like, the reason why I like him is partly just because he's getting people interested in space again.
You were you cut out for it.
Yeah, no, he's getting people interested in space, which is probably
Yes.
the most important thing for actually keeping us going towards space.
Yes.
Like in the 60s, it was we got to beat those Russians, and it worked. For whatever reason, we just need some bullshit motivation, which I don't like. It should just be let's do it just cause. Fuck it, why not? You know, why not go?
Yeah, humans work best when under pressure.
Yes, we do. You know, like I mean, think about even when Europeans started. Australia exists because they needed somewhere to send convicts. They were just like, fuck, man, we got too many dickheads here. We got to put them somewhere else.
Yeah.
And then they went off looking for a place to put them, and that's how we got that.
Yeah, here we are.
Mm-hmm. Here I am, anyway.
Now people actually voluntarily go here.
Man, it's just funny to think that this entire country was built by a bunch of assholes. And it turned out pretty well, all things
But
considered.
actually, my good sir, the history stuff also tells us that they actually also shipped a lot of bastards down here, as in royal bastards. And they also shipped a lot of political dissidents down here.
Basically,
meaning-
we are the outcasts.
Yeah, so we may be half criminal, half king.
And that's the best combination of all.
Yeah. I mean, look at Straya. We do have one of the best scores for education, life expectancy. I think we're number 3 in the world.
Australia is basically at the top in everything, which is why I unironically say it's the best country in the world. And it's not just because I'm from here, though I'm sure I'm biased.
I still would like to move on to the USA just because of the entrepreneurial freedom it gives me. But Australia is very much an improvement over Germany, and I'm proud to be Australian, very much so.
Yeah, that's the fucking right decision right there. If you said, oh, no, you know, Australia's not great, I would have disowned you and hunted you down with an emu on, you know, riding an emu.
I love it here, mate.
Yeah, no,
it's great.
It's awesome.
Yeah, educational scores, healthcare scores, freedom scores. Woo!
Yeah. A lot of people don't want to come here, though, just because of snakes. You know, snakes and spiders.
Dude, I've never even seen a snake in Australia. Spiders, though. And I went through... I was not everywhere. I was in the Australian bush for quite some time. I've never seen a damn snake.
Really?
Spiders? No, never.
Never seen a snake. Never seen a brown snake.
No. None of them.
You're lucky then, because brown snakes are not nice.
I know all about it, but
Spiders
when
are
we
everywhere,
lived in Sydney, you know, lizards and shit would permanently attach to our house, and in the first 2 weeks of being in Australia, I had to fight a fucking funnel web on my pool.
Yeah,
as in
we're lucky
literally
we don't have
having to poke up.
Funnel webs
Pardon?
are only in Sydney, so you know, you don't have to worry about them if you don't live in Sydney.
Yeah, it was just I was trying to clean my pool, and there was this little fucking fucker, you know, going all front legs up, like, what the fuck do you want? And he so all right, I took the pool casher and just threw the whole spider up to the neighbor. Thought they were strange, you know how to deal with it.
You know, one time I was walking up to the front door of my house, and there was just a possum sitting like underneath the door.
Oh, possums! We have lots of them in here, yeah.
Oh, possums everywhere. Possums getting.
They're lovely.
You know, I like possums a lot. They are.
They're cute.
Yes, they are. We got a lot of cute animals. Quolls are awesome.
Yes. I also live right by the beach, so unfortunately, well, people die around here because of squids, and not squids.
Blue-ringed octopus.
Yeah, but what are these jellyfish? Because of jellyfish.
Box jellyfish. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, a couple of people died there recently on my beach.
Oh, yeah. You're really taking a risk, man, with the water.
No, but it's still, you know, I don't know. The danger adds to the appeal.
Well, when I was on the weekend, because I went away, we went swimming with sea lions, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Sea lions are awesome, but there were also sharks nearby. Not like nearby, but you know, pretty close, relatively speaking. And it's like, oh, geez, you know, we could run into a shark out here. We didn't, fortunately, but it's sea lions.
Yeah. Rose is in chat round. Tech got bitten, didn't he? Yeah. Well, that was me adjusting to Australia. So in Sydney, we had a carport, a garage, whatever. And I went in there with unprotected feet, and I got bitten by a couple of redbacks.
Redbacks, yeah.
Yeah, and I called because I only heard via the internet, oh my god, redback bite, very bad.
Redbacks are bad, but whitetails are the ones you gotta watch.
I know, whitetails are even more horrible, but I did still call the ambulance, and they went like, you don't even give out anti-venom anymore for red.
I've never been bitten though, so I don't know what the fuck you were doing, because I've been living.
I just know that one day later, when I told people, all the Australians that I by then knew said, "How the fuck did you manage to get bitten by a fucking ratbag?"
Yeah, well, yeah, I am wondering, because it's like I've never been.
I stepped on it.
So why didn't that kill it? Oh right, because you were barefoot. That was your first mistake.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
You know, you can avoid getting hurt by the animals here. Like, you know, kangaroo, you see kangaroos all the time, and you just don't go near them, you know, leave them be.
Yeah.
Or echidnas, though, that you got to watch out for them, because if you run over them, they'll take you down with you. They'll take you down with them.
It's fine. I mean, this country is far less dangerous than.
I'd rather be here than Venezuela, you know, just saying.
Yes. then the myths would have you believe. I also remember when I was in South Africa, there were actually scorpions in my fucking bed.
Jesus Christ.
And there's no scorpions around here.
No scorpions, thankfully. Scorpions in your bed?
Jam says, this is definitely a chat about this game. Well, we did say we didn't want to spend all day talking about just my game. I think we talked about my game like for 1 or 2 hours almost. So
yeah, because
I think at this point it's just fine talking about whatever.
Yeah. Wow, yeah, we've been going for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Jeez. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about or add, or did you want to wrap
about Bomb Punk? Not really. You've done your shilling duty.
Yeah, at this point you can't call on any more shilling. I'll probably still shill right at the end of the campaign, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call in my last favors at the end of the campaign because this is actually something I can talk about. I researched Kickstarter campaigns, and when I do research, I go full straight into the statistics and graphs and everything. Mm-hmm. So, very common for a Kickstarter campaign is to get a really big head start, then slowly ebb off, and then in the last couple of days you go
and surge right at the end. Yes.
Yes, and that is usually, and I did not know that, fueled by people who follow your campaign but choose not to pledge until the very end. So right now I have, according to my statistics, about 400 people who are following my campaign but have not pledged yet.
Right.
This is a very special kind of backer, apparently. Serial backers, so to say, who wait to see how a project turns out and if it's likely to be funded. And at the very end, they come in and bam, and they wait until you may be offering some special deals or something like that.
Right.
So I do expect there to be another surge of backers right at the end, which is interesting.
Well, I've been keeping track of a Kickstarter project for a game called Lunark, which is like a Have you
Yeah,
heard this
Lunak,
one?
Lunak is a little bit like my trigger because Kickstarter went all, oh, let's fawn over that game, and they featured it on in their projects we love side,
Okay.
and keep recommending it and everything. And here I am, not getting shit from Kickstarter, going, dude, we've been outperforming them every fucking day.
Well, that game does look really cool because I backed that one on Kickstarter. I'm not sure how I heard about that one either. It might have been from them too. But that one looks really cool, and it's getting.
I just thought I ticked all the Kickstarter boxes because looking at the front page, they're full progressive. So the last thing the last have you looked at the last project they featured? The last project they featured yesterday was a card game made of real life photos of non-binary trans people trying to oppose the oppression. Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So what you got was a card game full of really ugly people. Yeah, so that's the kind of thing that they... And I thought I ticked all the boxes, you know, strong female character, disabled and shit.
Right, strong female character is all you need at this point.
Maybe she shouldn't have been white. Maybe my problem is that Evie is white.
Man, I hate that they even make you think about this stuff, though. You know,
I know.
Because even when I'm like working on a story, I'm like, man, is this diverse? Like, you know, am I gonna get in trouble for not having enough? Because I feel like a lot of men will just naturally end up writing stories with men in them, and so then I'm like, fuck.
You know what? I never thought that just thinking about this and considering this is a bad thing. I know. It's about shaming people when they don't do it.
Yes.
That's the problem. I actually like thinking about what race would most fit this character. Mm-hmm. Is there any background info that would make this more, you know, authentic if the character was this gender or this race or this sexuality, whatever. Yeah. The problem that I have was never the inclusion of everything. My problem was always the forced inclusion or the forced stigmatization of anybody who's not doing it.
It's just I mean, it has to be relative for starters. It depends on what your story is about, where it's set.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're doing something that's mostly based on Anglo culture, then yeah. But by that same vein, if it's mostly based on Eastern or African or South American, then you do the same thing. Like it shouldn't be a big controversial thing. It should just be the decision that's made based on what makes most sense for the story. Like,
yeah.
You know,
of course, if somebody comes up with a story for a game and that story takes place in fucking Namibia and everybody's fucking white, yeah, that's strange.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it works both ways, you know. Like
yeah.
I'd have issue if it was like Black Panther. If it's like everybody was white, I would have been like,
yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
And I think, you know, all the critics that I've heard, well, most of them, there's always weirdos. But all the people who said that Black Panther shit never said it should because they're black. It should because they're throwing it in your face that they're black.
It's not a good movie though. From a storytelling perspective, it's really flawed. It's just it's not a good movie, and it bugs me that it's been nominated for a fucking Academy Award.
I've heard people say that they wanted to win the Academy Awards just to show people just how fucking irrelevant it has become.
How overrated it is. Like it's bad. Now people are starting to really realize how overrated it is, though. Once it got nominated for an Oscar, people like, come on. Like, come on.
May I respond to the chat here? There's two comments that I like. Puritzel starts, I think biologically that is true, but I still would never want to stop somebody from living the life they want. You need to accept you are biologically male, but if you want to live as a woman, I respect you. And I think that is exactly right. You know, I don't even have a stake in saying you can't be a proper female or male if you're trans or something. Honestly, I don't care. If you want me to perceive you as female, even though you're biologically male, I will do so because there's nothing that I lose from doing so.
Right.
I don't really give a shit. My problem is when you start saying you have to or else. That is where my problem starts. Or else. Yeah, I mean, that is what SJWism is about. That's the difference between progressivism and
SJWism. Do what I say, or else.
Yes. Yeah. Accept me for whatever I want to be, or else. That's the problem.
It just sounds so sinister, doesn't it? You know.
Yes. Very much so.
Does.
Crimson Glory says, I'm writing for characters with different backgrounds, but the skin gender doesn't come first. Well, until they have sex. Well, I think, I think writing a character should include a consideration what sex and race and cultural background they have, because the character might react differently based on all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if you write your main character to be facing an insurmountable challenge, the way a man approaches that and the way a woman approaches that may differ significantly. Mm-hmm. Whatever floats your boat, but you may want to, base your story on what is more realistic, how a man would approach it, how a female would approach it, or how an African American would approach a certain situation in a America-based situation, or how a white person would approach it. There's definitely some sort of realism thing implanted into that, into such considerations. But as I say, I can only say that again. The only problem I have is people saying you have to have this character behave like this or look like this, or else
we'll come for you,
Yeah. Or else you're gonna lose your job, or else we're not gonna buy it, or else shame. No, sorry.
I think shaming is the main one, trying to shun you into silence, which is really fucked up. Obviously, but but it happens too often.
Fringy, I would have to go to the toilet again. I'm gonna leave you.
Yeah, no worries.
Whether you want to continue chatting or whether you want to stop it now.
We can wrap up once you get back, but I'm sure I'll find something to keep talking about with these people.
All right, be right back then.
No worries. It's now become a very political discussion, so I'll just cautiously back away. Not to. I'm playing Tetris 99 right now, so man, I love it. It's gonna be the game that dominates my life now, isn't it? I'm just reading chat. Man, this has become a very philosophical and deep discussion, isn't it? The entire subject. And all of this just from a little point-and-click adventure game. Link to the Kickstarter in the description. Thanks for all sticking around, by the way. I figured nobody would watch because it's like, hey, Fringy hasn't uploaded anything since June. Oh, it's been 8 months. Yikes. That's the longest gap I've ever had, I think. I might be turning into Blackbuster Critic, where I only upload at E3 and then disappear back into my lair, never to be seen again until the next E3 when I can make more jokes. You're just the token colored guy on EFAP now. I was meant to be on EFAP today as well, or at least I got invited to hop on. Because they need, when they're talking about Black Panther, they need to have one black guy on there just going like, oh well, I also agree. I agree. Fringy should stop slacking and post videos more. Hey, I have been busy. All right. Don't go tearing my soul asunder here. And like I said, you might be seeing a podcast sooner rather than later. It really depends. We'll see. It depends. I want to get that book done and then send it out. Just get it off of my desktop. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering how progress has gone on that, not great.
What are we talking about?
I was just rambling. I think I have autism. I got vaccinated. All right. Yeah. I mean, if we wanted to wrap it up, I guess what would be the final things to rattle off? Probably about the game again.
Right. So first off, I really enjoyed. Now I'd love you, Frankie, to do more in the public sphere again. I think you should. I think you need to.
Yeah. I think so.
Yeah, sorry, we love you, fucker.
Yeah, no, I
know. Oh no! People love me. They would even pay me money. Oh.
Anything with that,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I've got the Kickstarter open now, $36,000, but there could always be more money.
Yeah. Oh, I'm always fine with more money. By the way, this is another one of these things. We talked about this earlier briefly, but that really pisses me off. So many of these indie devs say, I don't want to demand too much of you, but I don't want too much. No, shut the fuck up. You need to make money. How the fuck else are you gonna support yourself? If you don't try to show your game out, I'm gonna have to pay for your fucking social welfare. Fuck off. Fuck off and chill out. Anyway.
But yes, the game is on Kickstarter. I got the link in the description. I've been tweeting about it a few times as well. Unless, I'm sure some of these people who are watching might be like those stealth backers who just do nothing until the very last day and then start throwing money at you.
I think, well, it helped me very much just talking with you about it, from both from a creative perspective and just getting the word out there.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, I think it even helps if nobody decides to pledge.
Yeah,
because
it's still fun to talk about it.
Yeah. And if I may say so, since I'm looking at my beer bottles, invigorated enough, I'm gonna stream after this.
Oh yeah, well then head over to Top Hat's channel then afterwards as well.
Fringy, it was a pleasure, and I hope to be able to convince you to come to America.
I will try to come to America. Yes. I even started looking at flights, so you know I'm serious.
Yes, he is.
No, I am though, guys. So if you guys are heading over, that would give me even more incentive to consider going. Not to trick you into throwing money just for me to come, and then I'm like, nah, sorry, I can't.
I have the confirmation from Rax that he's going to be coming. I have the confirmation from Tanga that he's going to be coming, and I have the Bulletberry that he's going to be coming. So
yes, there are a lot of people who will be going, so it'd probably be well worth a lot of your guys' time to head over there, especially if you actually live in America. And if you live in Texas, you could probably drive there as well.
Yep, Cheesy, for example.
Yeah, that's right.
Orion, look at this. Orion says, I think I need a good fringy rent. I've missed those.
I'm sure that there's probably stuff that I could probably talk about Xbox fanboys in particular, but I don't know.
People love you, mate. Give the people what they want.
Yeah, no, I got ideas, guys. Don't worry. I'm sure there'll be cool things in the future. I just gotta get off my ass.
Yes.
Yeah, but no, the Kickstarter is there. Go check it out. It's coming out on everything, isn't it?
It is actually coming out on everything, yeah. Because there's no reason not to.
Even on Nintendo Switch. You know?
Especially on Nintendo Switch, because believe it or not, that is, according to my research, the second most likely platform for the game to succeed in, because point-and-click adventures are very big on the Switch. I don't understand it.
In general, do quite well on Nintendo Switch.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what's happening, but it's really the platform to go to apart from PC.
Mm-hmm. And it's going to be finished in 2020, probably.
Some point in 2020, yeah.
Yeah. But if you delay it...
Between Q1 and Q4.
Oh, well, at least that narrows it down, you know?
Yeah.
But, yeah, no, this was a great chat. Had a fun time, as always.
Very much so, mate.
And thank you, everybody, for sticking around and coming to watch. I'm sure I'll have a video in another 6 months.
Dude, you just fizzled out just as you were announcing things.
I was basically saying I'm not going to make a video